Reel to reel.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reel with Just Jason. I'm your host, Just Jace, and today I have Jesse Shepard with me again.
Hello, I'm Jesse Shepard.
Hello.
Your co-star, Jesse Shepard.
Yes, it's going to be a lot of fun today. We have a lot of things to do. Today is going to be our last podcast episode for...
No!
At least for this semester. We'll see what happens.
Ooh.
It'll be a lot of fun.
I mean, I'm in Audio Lab next semester, so you never know what'll happen.
Well, I'm in Video Lab next semester, so...
Video podcast.
It's actually doing chapel videos, actually. I think, so far. So that's the plan so far. You never know. You never do know. But, yeah, Jesse was, if you guys remember, Jesse was my first guest on this podcast, and we had a lot of fun way back towards the beginning of the semester. And now, man, finals week is coming right up.
It's imminent.
It's coming. You did that.
I am imminent.
You did that.
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert already. Okay. We have a lot of exciting things to talk about. Our main thing we're going to talk about today is Avengers Endgame, but we're going to save that for the end because we're also going to talk about upcoming summer films.
Of course, this is our big blockbuster of the summers episode, so we're going to be talking about all of those amazing movies about to hit theaters.
And the one that already did.
And the one that just did and will probably break all of the box office records.
Yes. Oh, it already broke the pre-sale. Oh, it already broke all the pre-sale tickets?
For Thursday.
Really? And then, yeah, and it broke...
Has it broke Avatar yet?
For all time? I don't know. Not yet. But I think it will.
I think it will.
I think it will. I mean,
I really hope it does. I don't know how Avatar was even that
yeah.
big. I still want to know.
It's China.
Oh, probably.
It's all the foreign stuff.
That makes sense.
Because...
Is it based off like a comic or something?
No, it's an original film. It's just that it's...
James Cameron.
Yeah, once James Cameron, they released it right after... I think it was right after they did Titanic 3D. So everyone's like, oh, James Cameron's cool. And then they had a lot of Chinese elements in it. And then I'm really upset that that's still number one because like they extended
even with like
this release.
Star Wars and other like Infinity War didn't even break it. I don't know how none of those broke it yet.
Because like with Avatar, like okay, it was successful, and then they extended the release for 2 weeks, and then right before it came out on DVD, they released the director's cut in theater and counted that against it. I'm like, you cheated. You didn't just have a normal theatrical run.
I'm interested to see what will happen with Lion King this summer because I feel like it'll break like all like the Star Wars ones. I don't know if it'll break any of the bigger ones though.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
I think it'll be in the top 10. I don't think it'll go past too far though.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Speaking of summer blockbusters, this is our summer blockbuster segment.
Actually, first we should talk about things that happened since the last podcast. So I think like we'll look at the past things, we'll look at the future things, and then we'll look at the big ticket item, Endgame. I think that's what we'll do.
Sounds good.
Sounds like
in episode 1, you saw Just Jace and Jesse Shepard.
Well,
in episode 2,
you saw. Oh man, now you heard us talk about all these things. So since we last talked with Sasha, Sasha was my last feature. And so since then, I mean, we haven't had like a lot of things happen. We've had a lot of big things happen though. I mean, so just yesterday we had, or was it today? We had a Bond 25 was, I mean, like they announced it the other day, but then like it was officially announced with a cast list. Daniel Craig is returning. I thought he wasn't coming back.
Same.
Yeah, because he does all his own stunts and he's always hurting himself. But I'm like, I really like him. I'm glad he's back.
Yeah, I'm really surprised he's coming back too. Maybe they'll introduce the idea that there's multiple James Bond.
I wish that they do that because that would be such an awesome thing because it would make all the Bond films like actually go together. Even though
make sense.
Yeah, it would make sense too.
Yeah, because James Bond is not the same person. It's all just the nickname for the same.
Yeah.
Operative kind of thing, and yeah.
For those of you who don't know that theory, the theory is that James Bond isn't a person, it's an alias that they keep on using over and over because once in every film, James Bond becomes known worldwide and his face is plastered everywhere. So, but if you use the same name and give it a different face, everyone's going to be looking from the last agent, but they won't know what the new one looks like, and he'll have a slightly different skill set. And yeah, I really I think that would tie all 25 films together as one series, since they're still technically counted as it. Because I mean, they count each actor as his own miniseries type of
His
thing.
back is like M.
Oh,
That'd be
man.
interesting.
We also had Rami Malek announced to be the villain, but he doesn't have a name yet. And he was the guy in Bohemian Rhapsody, and yeah. Speaking of also spy movies, we also sort of spy movies like agent movies. We also had a new Men in Black International trailer released.
And guess what it looks exactly like? Thor Ragnarok. Not exactly, but it does have
Sort
at
of.
least two of the actors.
Yeah, we've got Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson. And I thought Chris Hemsworth was going to be the main character. It looks like it's Tessa Thompson now.
Yeah, it definitely looks like Tessa Thompson is. So.
And like she's like seems like she's a breakout star right now.
Yeah, definitely.
With Thor Ragnarok, and then with this film, and then she's also, I don't know what streaming platform it is, but she's going to have like her own exclusive online streaming series. And I've seen her somewhere else too, but I think she's like definitely blown up. And
Definitely.
I mean, she's a really good actress. I loved her as Valkyrie.
Yeah, she's definitely really good.
We also had a new Hobbs and Shaw trailer came out. It was all right.
It looks about the same as the last time we talked about it.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that they're like, I really like that they're interplaying like the actions within the trailer with the music. I really think that's kind of cool. I mean, they do it a lot in films nowadays, and it gets kind of old. But I think with Hobbs and Shaw, like, I know it doesn't really feel like a really good action movie trailer because they downplay it with the comedy. But I think the way that they interplay with the music is really cool. But it looks like it's just gonna be like, what the heck, especially at the end when The Rock goes to his native town, and then they're like, "Where's all the guns? The guns are bad. We got rid of those.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this the old school way." And then they just have a bunch of car parts, and they do like a little tribal dance, and then they go beat them all up.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting. It'll be a really weird summer hit thing going out. So
Yeah, we had a lot of other things for the summer as well. We had our first look at James McAvoy in It Chapter 2. I mean, a big deal is made about it because I think it's just because it's James McAvoy, but it was just a set photo. I mean, looked like it was like an unedited shot from the film.
yeah,
And there were other photos of him too. I don't know why a lot of people made a big deal about it. We had a new Godzilla King of Monsters International poster. I haven't seen the first one, like the first reboot one, but I heard it did fairly well in comparison to the other ones. An entirely Photoshop job. A new TV spot for Aladdin. I feel like we talk about that movie like every time we sit down.
yeah. I don't know. It looks good. I don't know if it'll be great, but it looks okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'll give it a chance.
I don't know. I do like the Lion King trailer though. It looks amazing still.
Yeah, the new trailer that you're talking about, the first full length trailer.
The new trailer, yeah,
We saw Timon and Pumbaa.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said before, you have cartoon characters looking realistic, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't have
Seeing
to
like their mouth movements and stuff, and their expressions,
Yeah.
and how different everything is. But I don't know, I think that one will definitely be really big this summer. And
Yeah.
really huge.
I mean, just Jungle Book did really well, and I'm like, okay, Jungle Book was good, so I'll give this one.
Oh, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, and it's James
sure.
Favreau, John Favreau. Yeah, because he did Jungle Book, and he is doing this, and I think it'll be good. We also had a 21 Bridges trailer, which I think was like really interesting because it's by Joe and Anthony Russo, and it came out the same day as Avengers Endgame. But
The trailer for it.
The trailer did for it, and when we went to go see Avengers Endgame, that trailer played before the movie, and I was like, they usually wait a couple weeks to put it in the theater because like the theater has to, I mean the MPAA has to screen it and see if it's appropriate or not. But it's like, oh, internet and theater release for the trailer. I was
Yeah.
like, huh.
That's really surprising, but yeah, I assume it's just like, oh, the Russo brothers, we need to like put this in
Yeah.
the trailer right before their film hits, and
Yeah.
just so.
Yeah, I think part of it's because like they like announced like, oh, we're taking a break from the Avengers right now,
but here's our big thing, and it has people from the Avengers.
Yeah, it has Chadwick Boseman. And was there anybody else too?
I don't know if there was anybody else, but there's definitely Chadwick.
Chadwick Boseman is the lead character.
I thought there was someone else in it. Maybe not.
There might be. I think it looks really interesting. I mean, at least from the trailer. The trailer was I thought it was really cool. I don't think like plot wise it wasn't.
I mean, that's a pretty cool idea though, like shutting down the entire town basically by closing off the bridges and looking for the bad guy.
And everything. I mean, we saw that in Patriots Day.
Yeah.
But like this one seems like it's like more like a
Kind of
on
reminds
the run
me of
thing.
like Batman, like the locking up of the bridges.
Yeah,
Yeah.
From Dark Knight Rises. So okay, J.K. Simmons is in it, so I mean he was he's in the talks to be Commissioner Gordon in the was he Commissioner Gordon in Justice League, or was he still in the talks to be in it?
I have no idea.
So he's J. Jonah Jameson in the
Right.
Sam Raimi trilogy. But like I think they want him to be Commissioner Gordon in the DCEU.
I could see that.
Yeah, I wish that like when we do see J. Jonah Jameson in the MCU that we'd get him back. Kind of like they want like Disney's.
I don't know if we will though, because like if you see Spider-Man in the Spider-Man Homecoming film, instead of like working and reporting and stuff, he was like uploading videos.
Yeah, he's
and
emailing
stuff.
them.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff. So you don't know if he's actually going for any sites or if he's like just doing a social media platform or something and doing it that way. But I don't know. I have no idea if we'll actually see him in that. I think it was like such a nuanced thing already because like. That's what Superman does. That's what Spider-Man does. They're both like reporting on themselves.
Well, also
basically.
he's still isn't he 15 or 16 at this point? So
Yeah.
he hasn't like reached his senior year, started
Yeah.
college because usually he like gets into it when he gets into college.
Yeah.
So I guess he's interning or doing freelance stuff for them right now.
Yeah.
So not like actually being like an actual freelance photographer yet.
Right.
He's just, oh hey, I'm here. I can get here faster.
Doing the Nightcrawler kind of thing.
Yes.
Just selling it to the highest bidder.
Yes. And it's always like, oh hey, I got this guy. Got Daily Bugle. What?
Turning on the lights.
That's early. Turn it
I
off.
don't know who that was, but there is someone outside of our studio a few seconds ago. So
Turning off our lights on us.
creepy.
Yeah, it's creepy.
And this is the haunted section of the podcast. Yeah, they were just like flicking on and off. So no idea what that was about, but
That's weird.
I don't know if that was like the police officer. I don't know.
It shouldn't be because it doesn't close between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And it's not even 12:30 almost.
Yeah. Woo!
All right, back to it. We also have the Shazam. Shazam has a sequel announced. I haven't seen the first one yet.
I'm excited to see it. Actually,
Yeah.
it sounds pretty good.
I do. I kind of forgot. We're like, it's like, oh, this movie's coming out, and then it came out. I'm like, oh shoot, that's today. Yeah, it looks like I'm missing it for now.
Yeah.
And I almost saw it over Easter break. I was like about to go, and like me and my cousin wanted to go, but we're like the only two who wanted to go see it.
Yeah.
And I was I'm like, okay, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be fun, and not like in like Venom, like low expectations, but like I think I'll genuinely like laugh at this in
Yeah.
a good way. In a good way.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Yeah, looks like probably it's going to be one of the best DC films in recent times, so it'll be good.
And hopefully it'll help like diversify their content right now. And,
Yeah.
And not just make it seem like outlandish, but
Yeah,
like,
and everything before this has all been like super dark and
Yeah.
grungy and like that's like DC's main kind of theme.
They're known for
throughout
that.
a lot of stuff. They're known for it basically. But I don't know. I think it'll be nice to have this kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy almost kind of vibe where it's just like playful, weird, and
well,
angsty kind of character.
well, like that Suicide Squad was supposed to be DC's equivalent of Guardians of the Galaxy,
Right,
But
but
it was just weird.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, okay, you got the dark elements, but then you also have this really dark humor. Like, you thought it was gonna be funny, but it was
So
just
like Guardians of the Galaxy is like all these characters with like totally different backgrounds and all these things coming together, but they like mesh really well.
they fight, but like,
Yeah.
they get the job done.
And then like Suicide Squad is like
No one likes each
crazy, everyone hates each other, let's get done with this thing
other.
and
And there's like no redemption really. I mean, you have the most redeemable character die.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert: Diablo dies. But like, they really have no reason why they're doing it. It's like, why are we doing this? Oh, you get 10 years off your sentence. I'm like, I have 3 life sentences.
yeah.
That's not
We're
going to do
forcing you
anything.
to do it anyway.
Oh yeah, we're forcing you to do it. Yeah, if you run away, you die. You know, if it looks like you run away, you die. And if you die, well, guess what?
You die.
You die.
Yeah.
And so, and
Speaking of dying, we're gonna talk about Endgame later.
yeah, later. Yeah, just foreshadowing. Foreshadowing. It's all snapping fingers.
Just happens with a snap of a finger.
Before that, we're gonna talk about all the summer films we think, that are gonna be coming out this coming summer. So, I mean, I think Endgame is kind of starting it off towards, getting the end of the school year, and I think it's gonna have a pretty good run. But for films that haven't come out yet, we got a pretty good list. I mean, I didn't put down every film that comes out, but I think
So
kind of
many
highlights.
films. So many.
I'm looking at this. I'm like laughing. Why is Ugly Dolls first? I mean, it's in release order, but like, yeah,
What is that, like Nick Jonas?
yeah. Nick Jonas is like Mr. Perfect or whatever.
It's so dumb.
I'm like, oh, he's writing the Jonas Brothers.
I was on one of their Facebook pages the other day, and all of the comments were like the same thing we were talking about, where it's like they aren't like imperfect dolls; they're just
No.
like weird.
Like just either like they
They're
have
like bizarre, but they're like
they have like an
pretty
extra eye.
colors and stuff
Yeah.
too, and they're still like unique and stuff. And it's like all of the comments were like, we should be talking about this from the other way around, and like
Yeah.
talking about how the people kind of looked off or whatever. And
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just surprised that this movie is happening the way that it is, and it just seems like another one of those things where it's like there's gonna be a bunch of like random pop songs in it, and
Yeah.
like kind of like Trolls, but I don't know.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
that's
something
what I
that
was thinking too,
it's gonna be
Trolls.
something that like randomly like blows up for no reason. And
they've
just,
got like the same color scheme as Trolls.
Yeah.
And and like you
They
said,
really
they're not really that messed up. Like they just have like either an extra eye or they're missing an eye.
It's interesting how a lot of these movies are coming out because it's like weird. Like I don't know if it's like always DreamWorks or like whoever, but like it's like getting a pop star to be the main characters, and then like just doing a bunch of like random poppy songs that'll like blow up on the charts, but then like no one really remembers the movie that much.
Well, I think the first film to do that well was like Despicable Me. You had like Miranda Cosgrove as the oldest sister, and then you had Steve Carell as the main character. I'm like, okay, that worked for the first movie.
Yeah.
The second movie is like, oh, that happened. That set up Minions, and we didn't like that movie. And I keep on forgetting there was a third Despicable Me.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, oh, the brothers won.
1, 2, 3, and Minions movie.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, what the heck? We had a good movie, and they tried. Again, it doesn't work, and so yeah, with all these other films, it's like, okay, that's why, why. I feel like a lot of these movies are gonna be that way.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think they're just gonna. Same thing like with the Grinch too. Get Tyler the Creator to make a couple songs for the film.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I want to still. Is it not? Have you seen it?
I wanted to see it because I was like, Benedict Cumberbatch voices the Grinch, and then I'm like, Jim Carrey sang "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch." I'm like, Benedict Cumberbatch does not sing "You're a Mean One, Mr. Grinch." Like, oh, okay, I'm not seeing that in the theater. I am upset because I've never heard him sing. I don't know if he sings, but like, I really appreciated that Jim Carrey did it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, Benedict Cumberbatch. Like, oh wait, no, never mind.
That would be really cool.
But it also brings up we talked about with Frozen too. Are you going to be animated or are you going to be realistic? Because Illumination has a tendency to make, giving realistic textures to animated things. So like the Grinch, neon green, like really like bright green, but then like has his hair is, it's like awkwardly cartoonish, but like awkwardly realistic too.
Yeah.
But then like all of his like facial movements are all obviously cartoonish.
Yeah.
And so like it is definitely like Illumination style, and it worked with Despicable Me just because like they like their skin tones look flat, like a cartoon.
Yeah.
But Ugly Dolls does not look like it's gonna be that way.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I ever get the chance to watch the Grinch, I mean, might go for it. Next on our list we have Pokemon Detective Pikachu. I haven't really dabbled in Pokemon that much, so do you have any thoughts?
I don't know. I think it looks really good, honestly. Like, I think especially for like a video game movie, especially one where there's not really a specific plot. I think the whole Detective Pikachu thing is really the way to go, and like the way it's like I lost my memory and I need to do this, and your dad used to be like a cop or whatever, and we can work together, and no one can hear me but you can, and I can't talk to them but I can talk to the Pokemon. Like that whole thing in the trailer was
We're each
really
other's
cool.
translators.
It's a really interesting dynamic. Obviously, they're gonna like poke at that at one point, and they're gonna split the two of them up, and they won't be able to do that. And it looks almost like in the trailer, like that Pikachu can't always use his powers.
Yeah.
And like it looks like there's like a split second in one of the trailers where he like strikes on something almost like a static charge, like if you're like brushing a balloon against something, and all of a sudden there's like a static charge. I think he's gonna have like that problem in it, and like he'll be doing like a jump or something, and like strike on something and then have his power for that thing to like destroy something else.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
You definitely saw that at the end of the trailer when we finally saw him going against the Charizard.
Yeah, maybe.
It's just like he was like gonna fight him. And he's like, I can't do this when everyone else is watching.
Yeah.
It's like, and then he's like, then he cussed too.
Yeah,
Get me
he
the
did.
out of here. I mean,
Yeah, he did.
I was like,
It's
thank you,
it's really
Red Bull.
interesting. I think it's definitely more adult in nature.
Yeah.
With a lot of the, I feel like this one's gonna have a ton of jokes, like especially with like the mime and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like a ton of adult stuff would happen in this one, but and I feel like Pokemon in general has become such a pop culture kind of thing, and like I don't know. I think it'll definitely be one of those hype movies. That's like
last year it was huge because you had Pokemon Go. And, well, no, it was the year
a few
before.
years ago.
You had the Pokemon Go, and then you had the Pokerock stuff go around too, and then like version 2 and Friends. Like it's just like growing more and more. I think this movie.
And like new ones available on the Switch soon. And,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then like people think it might be like the first like good video game film. I think so far the best video game film we've had so far is Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, but like only like half the people remember that movie, and the other half like the only people who like remember that, like half of them have actually seen it,
Yeah.
and a few of them actually liked it. But it's really not that bad of a movie. It's not that good. There's not much there, but it's not that bad. Did you see somebody again?
Yeah, there was definitely a person like looking at me through the window, and then they like moved away. It's really
That's-
creepy.
That's freaky. I wish they did turn on the light and like
I
wave or
wish
something.
they'd just like say hi, because this is really creepy. But they're like right there. That's so weird.
You wanna go check it out?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
Do we want to like hit pause on this? We'll be back right after we check out this creepy turn of events. Those were just our friends.
Yeah, they're playing pranksters. All right. It was kind of fun.
It was a weird adventure, and we spent like 15 minutes on it, but whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't feel like 15 minutes for you guys, but it really did for us.
It did.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of weirdos.
We love them, though.
And now
I
to
guess.
talk about films we actually want to talk about.
Yeah.
I'm.
So. Oh, what?
Can I?
Yeah,
Can I?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. Actually, do we want to finish Detective Pikachu? Is that what we were talking about last?
I was just going to say how this last trailer was just kind of meh. Because, like, they had, like, all the good stuff from the previous one. They just kind
Yeah.
of showed the boring side of it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, we already saw a mime joke. Oh, let's just make another mime joke. Oh, we
Yeah.
already saw Charizard. Let's just show him walking around.
Yeah. So I don't know. I really hope it's not one of those movies where they like do all of the funny stuff in the trailer and then it's
Same.
just terrible in the movie.
I was worried about that with, like, when the first trailer came out. Then they actually had that pretty good joke with the I enjoyed it anyway with when he was talking about his dad. It's like, oh, maybe your dad, faked his death, or maybe someone else faked his death, or maybe he faked someone else's. Like, no, wait, no, never mind that last one. We're like, that really does not make sense at all. Scratch that out.
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess that's pretty funny. I mean, I guess.
I don't know. It's
I
gonna
was
be interesting.
I was kind of surprised that he's just like, oh, this is supposed to be geared towards kids. Oh, he's cussing. Do we actually get Ryan Reynolds to sound like Deadpool and actually drop the F-bomb? Who knows? Because he sounds just like Deadpool
Detective Pikachu, rated R.
anyway. Yes.
That'd be really interesting. Anyway.
Next.
So what I was gonna.
Oh, you
gonna? Cool. I'll do it. Cool.
Go ahead.
Okay. What I was gonna bring up is another movie with one of those lead singer kind of things, but for a different reason. I wanted to talk about Yesterday.
Yes.
Yay.
Yesterday.
Oh, did you? There was a new trailer for it. It looked cool.
There was?
Pretty cool. Yeah.
I have to watch that.
didn't
I've
see
watched
it
the
on
first
your
one.
list.
I didn't see the new one.
Yeah. It talked about how he
It,
met Ed
it,
Sheeran.
it didn't get blown up, but
Did you not see that one? It had him meeting Ed Sheeran, and he's like, "Oh yeah, no, pop stars and people come over to my apartment all the time. We've had a problem with Madonna recently, or someone like that." Basically, it was like Katy Perry or something. But anyway, it looked like a really good trailer. That one, all the trailers I've seen for it make it look really interesting. I'm really excited for it, just as a fan of the Beatles, and just the concept in it itself just seems so interesting. Like it hasn't happened before.
I feel like there's gonna be like one other person in the world who knows
Exactly.
the Beatles.
And,
It's like
we
you
saw
ripped
that
off
in
all
one of the
songs.
trailers. Like
Yeah.
he's on like the James Corden show or something. And
Did
like,
you write these songs yourself?
And
It's
like someone pops up at the end. There's like, we have a surprise guest who claims to have written these songs or whatever. So I'm really interested for that one though.
That'll be good.
If you haven't seen the trailers or anything, the premise is basically like a man gets hit by a car and like he wakes up and nobody remembers who the Beatles are, so he decides to like steal all of their songs
Yeah.
and stuff and do all that basically.
Mm-hmm.
So he becomes like a sensation, has a ton of like hit songs instantly, and it's crazy. He goes from like a no one to being like one of the top celebrities kind of thing.
I was like, did you write that song? No, do you recognize it?
But yeah, I'm
I'm selling it.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued by that. I think it'll be a good movie. I'm really hoping it's not one of those things where it's like at the end it's just like you feel so bad because it's like I got so far into this, I don't know how do I escape, and like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like Mean Girls, where it's like I did this fake persona for so long and now I just want it to end, kind of thing. So I hope it's not one of those, but it'll probably be like that. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It looks good nonetheless.
Still enjoyable. I mean,
You're actually listening through the Beatles discography, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And-
And I'm really interested to see this like soundtrack and the
Yeah.
score for it too, because from what I've seen in like all of the commercials, they like bring up a different Beatles song in each one. It's like it looks really good, and it sounds really good too.
Yeah, it should be a good one.
A lot of celebrities in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, James Corden, Ed Sheeran, a few other people like that. I don't know. Am I being picked up on the mic? Because when I talk like this, you can't really see anything.
Scoot closer.
And if you couldn't hear any of that before,
Max it out.
I don't know. Maybe you didn't hear any of what I was saying before.
I
But
just,
I stepped closer to the microphone. Maybe this will be better for
let's talk a little bit louder too.
everyone else. Yeah, I'll talk a bit louder. Sorry, it's like almost 1 a.m. right now, so
Yeah.
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 Hopefully we don't get kicked out before we finish this one.
Yeah. I've got an early morning.
Oh, we
too.
haven't even talked about Endgame yet.
Yeah. So let's just kind of like rush through these.
Anything else?
I'm really excited for Tolkien. I talked about it with Sasha a bit. I'm really excited for that. John Wick Chapter 3. I've seen the first one. Need to see the second one, and I really want to watch the third one. You've seen any of them?
Nope.
Check it out. Aladdin. We talked a lot about that. You mentioned Godzilla's a kind of meh. Rocket Man. Mentioned it before. Dark Phoenix. I can't believe that's still happening. I'm not really excited.
Yeah, it's one where it's like a few years ago I would have loved to have seen this one, but like Days of Future Past was good. The one after that was Apocalypse. Thank you. I was thinking Armageddon for some reason. I was like, no. Apocalypse was weird. It felt like there was such a weird dynamic of power in that one, where it's like we can't fight him and kill him and do whatever, and then they like do.
Yeah. That Fantastic Four.
It's just weird. Yeah, but
This one's supposed to be like
The last. This is the last X-Men film before Disney takes over, so this one will be the last
the
X-Men
very
film
last of this entire franchise.
of the franchise
like,
that's been softly
how many
rebooted.
movies is that? Like 25, 30?
No, it's less than that.
It seems like a lot.
It seems like it.
You have the Wolverine trilogy, and then
You've got the original
Logan,
trilogy. You got
the original trilogy.
1, X2,
the
United.
2, and then
last
this
one.
one. So there's, what, like 12, 13, 14 movies in there?
There's about, I'd say
About
a
15,
dozen.
yeah.
Yeah,
15 or less.
Yeah.
A decent amount of movies, though.
I mean, and it's just like they've been softly rebooted with ever since like The Last Stand.
And each one is like repairing the mistakes of the one before it, and
just
like
makes more.
changing the way it works time wise. But
First Class is supposed to help really fix that, and I think for the most part it is kind of like establish.
okay, these are the characters we're keeping. These are the storylines we've established, and we're keeping with them. Kind of, especially with the Jean Grey storyline, where they already introduced Phoenix,
Yeah.
and they're like, "Oh no, that actually hasn't happened yet," and stuff like that.
I don't know. It could have been good. It might still be good, but I kind of doubt that at this point. And like,
We don't need a Dark Phoenix movie. That would have been cool when they hadn't already made a crappy version of Phoenix.
who knows? Maybe when Disney runs all of this, maybe it'll be good.
I mean, they'll be using Marvel Studios as creative team, which would be awesome.
Yeah, and I feel like they won't bring in Wolverine at all for a long time.
I don't know. I like
I feel like they're gonna try to do an X-Men with like a lot of obscure people, kind of like how they did Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's like not all the original members and like bringing a few other people in. So I really hope they do something like that, kind of where they don't just like try to reboot it again, because like Wolverine's been in so many now, and
You can't replace Hugh Jackman.
you can't. He was really good at it, even though there were some really oddball kind of things. But
Oh, no matter what weird thing he was doing, it was always Hugh Jackman giving his best.
yeah.
So if it was good, it was bad. He was.
And he was a really good like character actor. Like the way he did his method acting, he would like
It was insane.
He would take cold showers every morning just so he would be like upset on set all the time.
and that's actually one of the reasons why he quit. It's because during the Wolverine, like, so when he works out for it, so like he knows how diets and stuff actually work. You don't actually lose the weight and keep it off. He had everything peak for both his workouts and for his diets. He would have everything peak during, like, they make him shoot all his shirtless scenes within like 2 weeks, and he would have he'd have everything peak at that time. But then they had to reschedule before they actually shot those scenes. But he was already into the diet, and it screwed everything up. And so like he went off the diet and had to wear out, and then he started all over again. And he hated that process so much because he already hated eating.
Yeah. Just crazy amount of like
dedication.
Very dedicated.
When they
dedicated.
screw it up, it's like,
Yeah.
Fox, you screwed up your best character and actor. Of course he wants to leave, but then my thing is, like, I'm grateful, kind of grateful. Like, I can see the good side of it because, you know, that's the second Wolverine film. The third one was Logan. That one was the best.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, without him saying no, I'm done. When my contract's up, I'm done. We wouldn't have had Logan.
Yeah.
And like that, like, defined, like, hey, R-rated superhero films can be successful and doesn't have to be stupid like Deadpool.
Yeah.
And doesn't have to be like 10% of the viewers like it, like Watchmen. It can, yeah.
Yeah. It was really good.
Moving on. We already talked about Men in Black. We got Toy Story 4.
Woohoo! Nobody asked for this, kind of.
It's like, hey, 3 felt really like if 3 was.
It was a good conclusion, and
was
then
great,
like
but
there
it
were
was-
like
yeah.
tunes after that, and then like
That's
this
a Halloween
one, this one like has Andy in it again, but younger, and like a flashback, and I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, and like, I mean, like, the third one was late, but it had a good ending.
It had a good ending.
I was satisfied.
It was a solid conclusion, and I was really I was satisfied.
Especially him
with it.
passing it on.
Exactly.
And then it's like, this one's like, oh, what if you made
Like,
your own toys?
If
It's
they were
like-
doing this as like a Disney Plus series,
Yeah.
about it, like I'd be fine with that. If they did like the Toy Tunes and did it that way, like I'd be fine with this. And I'm fine with them making Toy Story 4. It was inevitable. It was something they were gonna do.
Like, it's your first successful franchise. Why are you not going to
Exactly.
continue it?
But
you don't need to, though.
I feel like it's unnecessary. But however, I will say like the animation,
Ooh.
like we've been talking about, it's so good. There's a picture of like the
Yes.
dog from the first one and the cat
Yes.
in this one, and like you can just see that the first one was like gross and like
Sid's dog.
It's like state of the art at the time, and now it's just like, ugh. But now it's like you see that cat, and it's like that looks like a real life cat. It's like they could have like filmed this and not had to do this, but yeah, it looks really good. It's gonna be interesting seeing like
Bo Peep's back.
Yeah, Bo Peep's back, and like it seems like there's like the foul mouth characters, like the duck and whatever. But-
We're still getting Key and Peele, too.
Yeah, Key and Peele.
Oh, I think that's going to be, like, my favorite part. I'm like, I don't care.
It'll be
like,
interesting, yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's just be like 2 Kevin Harts in this movie.
Yeah. And I think the most interesting thing about this is like the weird trend in films now to do like the carnival thing.
I don't like that.
It's really interesting.
I really don't
I
like
think
that.
some of them do it well. Like Greatest Showman is pretty good.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
like, that's what caused like Dumbo to happen. I think like it's like, oh, the carnival thing is happening now. It's like,
Oh, then you have, like, Open Season 3, Madagascar 3. I'm like,
yeah.
yeah,
And-
finish your trilogy, but
But
don't
like
make a carnival theme.
recently, like there's just a lot of like random like carnival theme movies and films. And stuff.
Dumbo is just like, why?
Yeah. I don't know if anyone was really asking for that reboot.
No, none of the critics really like it, and it's not doing so well at the box office. And I'm like,
Yeah.
they're just all showing the photo of Dumbo with his clown makeup on, where he's all really sad. I'm like, yeah.
Creepy.
I mean, yeah. You had a lot of things going for you. You had pretty decent CGI. You had Tim Burton. You had, I forgot who did the score.
Yeah.
Right.
And
But you had like
You can't do like a carnival movie without the whole theme of it just being like we're the outcasts and misfits and like
We saw that.
yeah,
We've seen that every time.
yeah.
and so I mean like
I don't know. It seems like a trend that needs to be killed.
Dumbo was supposed to be cute, and when you make it realistic, it's not cute.
Yeah, it's kind of creepy.
It is.
I didn't really like any of the trailers for it.
I was like,
don't know.
okay, if we get a live one, we got like Lion King, okay. But if it's Tim Burton, he's creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's creepy creative. I mean, he gave us a lot of good films. He gave us the 1989 Batman. He gave us The Night Before Christmas, right? Yeah, and then but it's like we don't. Dumbo's not supposed to be creepy. Dumbo's supposed to be cute, and that does not work with Tim Burton.
Yeah.
And so that happened. But I mean, one thing's supposed to be creepy is Child's Play. They had the first trailer for that. Did you watch it?
Nope. I have no idea what this is.
Child's Play, Chucky, the killer doll.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're rebooting it,
Why?
and
Well, because they used animatronics for the first one. This one they're using CGI. I think they're using CGI anyway. But Mark Hamill is voicing Chucky.
Gross.
Yeah, I'm like, why? We don't need that.
I don't know.
I haven't seen it.
I wasn't a big fan of any of those, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, it is like a cult classic. Where I'm like, do I really need to watch that? No. Did I need to watch Gremlins? Not really, but I did. I don't really want to watch like a real horror movie. Gremlins is technically a horror movie. It's technically a Christmas movie. It's also technically just a cult classic because Steven Spielberg made it with using practical special effects and it looked fine at that time. Do I really need to see a horror version of that? No. But I think Mark Hamill looks like he has a lot of fun with it. Annabelle Comes Home. I'm not really into that. Yeah, we kind of. Yeah, so my comment with like 2 Kevin Harts in Toy Story 4.
It's like
Same thing we got like Secret Life of Pets. So the second one comes out this summer, and it's just like it seems like the first one was it was successful with all the kids because animated dog movie, and then all the adults liked it because you got Kevin Hart to voice a tiny little bunny. And so then the second one comes out, and like, okay, you're just gonna ride the sequel train. What do you think?
I don't know. I still haven't seen the first one, and I don't know. It looks okay, and it sounds like something I might have liked as a kid, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It definitely does seem like the sequel for this one's coming out really quickly.
Yeah, and I mean,
Maybe I'm like losing track of time with college, and maybe it's really been like 5 years, but it feels like it's been like 1 or 2.
it came out like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, as soon as you see what the plot is, then I know how exactly this is going to go, and it goes that way.
Yeah.
it's a kids movie, and it's just like, we need to make a filler movie. It's not doing anything super creative, but they just had like the right jokes released at the right time, and it was fine. Far From Home, we had a lot. Yeah, we already hit Far From Home.
Yeah.
No trailer yet. Images.
Yeah, we talked about it.
Talked about 21 Bridges. Lion
I'm
King,
surprised we haven't talked about this one yet.
The New Mutants.
I keep forgetting that's happening.
I keep on thinking that's a TV show.
Yeah, because there was like
There's so many
there's
X-Men
the
TV
other
shows.
one that's the TV show.
There's so many X-Men TV shows.
Yeah.
Because isn't one of them just called Mutants? Because there's like a horror version. There's like a horror one.
Which is the movie.
I thought that was a TV show.
That's the movie.
Okay. They have 2 TV shows right now, right? One's on Fox and one's like exclusive.
Yeah, there's one that's on Hulu, which I can never remember what it's called.
But I was like, I thought this one was supposed to be another TV show, and I thought it was originally a TV show. And it's like, this is the horror one. So then,
Because there's like Legion,
Yeah, Legion. Yeah. Okay.
and then there's Gifted, and then
Yeah.
there's the one that's on Hulu.
Yeah, actually, Legion was like their big
Runaways.
successful one.
Runaways.
That's technically not X-Men. That's technically MCU.
Right, but
yeah, it's exclusive. Yeah, it's not. No.
I'm just talking about this is the one I
Yeah,
always think
Runaways
of
and
when I
Cloak and
think of this.
Dagger.
And Cloak and Dagger, yeah.
Yeah, those are their 2. Well, those are the MCU ones, and then the ones you listed. Those are the Fox X-Men ones.
Yeah. I'm interested in seeing this one, though, The New Mutants. So this one is the 13th and the final film in...
The real final.
And of the X-Men
Dark Phoenix is
series.
like the big Hollywood version.
Yeah,
the
so
big
that one's the
Hollywood
12th one, and this is the 13th one, then.
And
And this one
it's
is
a
like,
smaller one.
Yeah, it's smaller, but it's the official final film in the entire X-Men franchise from this.
And
Crazy
isn't
saga.
about like
mutants we don't know about are getting experimented on, right? Is
Yeah,
that-
basically. So it's like a horror movie in that aspect, and I need to see like the trailers for it again because I haven't seen them in a few months, and this one's been like delayed for the past few years.
Yeah, that's what
and
I thought it was supposed to come out like
this
right
one,
after Legion.
This one was talking about like stuff in 2016, and like I don't know, it's been a long development process for them. I'm sure, probably with all like the Fox and Disney deal,
Oh,
like
yeah.
that probably delayed it a ton.
because that was supposed to come out with like Legion and stuff.
Yeah.
Because isn't
And I feel like this one could have been really good too, and I think it might still be. I don't know. I haven't seen any of the information on it, but I don't know. I really want this one to be good though, because this would be a really good one to watch.
yeah, because like we kind of got like hints of that in like Logan with X-23's origin story,
Exactly.
and I was like, well, okay, like what if we actually had a movie that was about that?
Yeah,
Just
and
other people.
I just think like making the superhero thing not its own genre, but like exploring actual
Yeah.
genres in that. So like superhero is really just a subgenre, and like
Of
most
action.
most of them are just action.
yeah.
But like I would love to see a horror themed one. Like
Yeah.
I feel like Glass and all of those were kind of like not
It's more of a thriller with comic book esque elements.
right.
It's not comic book
Which
with
isn't,
thriller.
yeah.
It's
but
different.
this one should be that way, and
Yeah.
I want to see that.
And I think Marvel's doing a really good job with that, especially with the MCU, because we've got, I mean, Captain America is a World War II movie, and Iron Man 1, 2, and 3 are like tech films, and the third one's like a runaway film, and then you got Captain America 2, which is like a political thriller, and you've got Guardians of the Galaxy, obviously sci-fi. You have Ant-Man, which is closer to comedy. It's not technically comedy, but it's
But it's
closer
still
to
like
comedy.
super sciencey, weird.
Yeah, it's like
not-
it's like a parody of Iron
don't
Man. Really,
know.
it's a parody of Ant-Man.
Ant-Man is a really odd film series.
Yeah, and
And then, of course, the best superhero film of all time, Megamind.
you want to try that line again?
Of course, the best superhero film of all time, Megamind.
Okay, I need to watch it again. I liked it when it came out, and I think it had a lot of good pointers. But what are you referring to when you say it's the best?
I think, at least for an animated one,
Yes.
it's definitely one of the best. But just the way it definitely, I know I say this a lot, but it like subverts the genre. It shows like the super villain side of things and like him changing, and then it changes like the way you think like the nerdy person. Like it's one of the first films to bring to mind like the way a
villain.
lot of men don't hear like the no thing from the women. So like the newscaster kind of guy
The stalker with
keeps
Jonah
like
Hill.
stalking him. Yeah, Jonah Hill keeps stalking the girl.
Jonah Hill's just a stalker.
And it's
anyway.
like he's like really creepy in it, and it's like one of the first films we see that's for kids that shows like
Evan Almighty.
people don't even hear, and they're not all like the good guy kind of thing. And
Evan Almighty.
Yeah.
Jonah Hill was a stalker on Evan. Yeah, in that one too.
yeah, and I did
They animated one.
not
though.
not to say like we need to have like politics involved in every single thing, but I think that one's a good
Yeah.
example of how to show that in a movie without it being like the main premise. And
It's still a very fun movie.
yeah, very fun movie, very good movie.
Yeah. It was like original enough.
But enough about Megamind.
I need to watch that one again.
Yeah.
Just so many reasons to watch again. Yeah. So, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's Tarantino's next film. Isn't that like number 8 or something? I mean, it's Tarantino. He's going to be good.
Yeah, that one looked interesting.
Yeah. We talked about Hobbs and Shaw. I did not notice, but they kept on advertising like it's Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. That's actually the official title. Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw.
It's all for marketing.
Yeah, I'm like, why do you do that?
I don't know.
I still can't believe that this is real, but Dora and the Lost City of Gold. Why?
It looks interesting. It kind of looks like how the Nancy Drew movie was, like the recent one.
But
It's
like
kinda
that was actually good though.
I don't know. I haven't seen
Ish.
that. I actually kind of want to see that one.
It's not bad.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not like
the recent one though, not the older one.
not like 2009 one.
Not the 2009 one. The one that came out this
They had
year.
another one.
Nancy Drew and the Hidden Staircase.
I have heard about that one.
It's interesting. She's kind of. She's a little bit different this one. She's more tomboyish, so she's like skateboarding and doing a bunch of like different things like that. It's really interesting. It looks good. It's probably like a
Ish.
terrible film.
Who made it?
I have no idea.
Nick.
No idea. It looked good though, but it reminds me of that in the way that it's like female. It seems like one of those movies where it could just be like a direct to
Video?
TV, yeah, direct to TV kind of Disney Channel original film kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like, what Nickelodeon or
Yeah, because I didn't Nick do the previous one.
I have no clue.
The 2009
I'm talking
one.
about Dora.
Oh, Dora. You're talking about Dora.
I'm thinking
It's gonna be. It looks like a Hollywood one. Looks like a theater one though. Not a CG.
It does, but I feel like
It doesn't need
just
to be.
just the way that all of those series are presented, it could have just been like a straight to film or straight to TV one.
It doesn't need. It doesn't like all the special effects are going on. Like it doesn't. Dora isn't that type of
And it's
thing.
it reminds me of like the Journey series, like the Journey to the Center of the Earth.
When are we gonna get the third one? I really want the third one.
I don't know.
And did you like that series?
Whenever yeah, I did. Whenever The Rock has time,
Yeah.
to put it into like a random, totally different film.
Yeah. Will Josh Hutcherson do it though? Because like the first one is Josh Hutcherson in his prime. Like everybody loved Josh Hutcherson, and then the next one's like he's starting to do more grown up stuff, and then like now he's like all grown up stuff.
Yeah.
He doesn't really like people anymore.
So I'm still ready for From the Earth to the Moon.
If they're still doing it, but
Yeah.
yeah, The Rock and a whole nother thing. I watched Skyscraper over Easter break. Actually, I
You
liked
did?
it. Yeah.
Okay.
I watched the trailer. I'm like, I've seen the movie.
Whenever I see any of the trailers for that, whenever they do like something totally physically impossible,
if it's The Rock and it's an action
literally
film,
he jumps like 30 feet.
He
straight
like 30
and, like,
times.
yeah.
In the movie, he does
He
like
does
30
it. Oh my god.
all the time. He's always hanging from stuff. You know the
It's
poster with him
physically,
hanging?
Like, I
that's
watched
what
a science video, and it's like literally like the way for him to do this, he would have to be going so fast to actually do that and have
Yeah.
like super strength. And I don't know.
Oh, at that when he jumps off the crane, like he actually like trips and is like,
I'm going anyway. Might as well leave. And it's like, dude, you just like tripped because he has the
prosthetic leg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No, I didn't.
So at the beginning of the film, he used to be he's an ex-military man because he was involved in a bombing accident that blew off his leg. So he has a prosthetic leg, and that's like one of the biggest things in the film. And so there's so many shots of him like using his leg. He uses it to beat up people. He uses it to prop doors open, and he does all sorts of stuff with
Interesting.
it. And so.
See, I feel like if I had seen that in one of the trailers, I would have been interested in it.
Because it seems like, it's an action movie. Oh, throw the family in there. It's basically make Fast and Furious without the cars and without everybody else.
Yeah.
And stick them in one building.
Fast and Furious, you see like the cars flying through the buildings. This one is literally
that's
Dwayne The
Furious
Rock
se-
Johnson just
That's
jumping
Furious 7,
through them.
though.
And the new one. And this one.
the Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, yeah, with the
There's
buggy.
literally
With the
them
buggy.
flying through it and like shooting.
Yeah, with the buggy.
It's like you're not like bracing for impact when
It's a
you're about
buggy,
to
though.
fall. Like
You got a roll cage, man. You don't need to.
it's so dumb. I don't know.
But
It just gets crazier and crazier.
Skyscraper is just like
It's a very predictable like action film. It's just like, okay. But like for the stories, for the family part of it, it's like, okay. I mean, you can still
get some good elements in there. But like the poster with him like hanging down,
that same shot happens like 3 to 4 times in the film. I'm like, oh, that's just a screen grab from this movie. I don't know from which part though, because he does it like 4 times.
but I mean, it was all right. Did you want to talk about Artemis Fowl? Have you read any of those books?
Nope.
Neither have I, but I know it's kind of a big deal.
It looked interesting in all of the trailers though.
The Angry Birds 2 movie?
This one
Why
is
did they
actually.
have to-
I am so excited for this one. I've been playing this game since. No. I have no idea what even the first one was about. I feel like this is
Yeah.
a really unnecessary series. Maybe it's really great. I doubt it.
Well, I feel like the first one's like mixed, but like kids liked it, like
I don't know.
They watched it and went to
I
Netflix.
feel like all of these could have been very successful had they happened like
when the game
12
came out.
years ago.
Like when the game came out,
Yeah.
they waited like 4 or 5 years for the movie. Yeah. Don't sue us. Don't sue us. Playmobil. Rovio. Rovio, don't sue us. We got one more film on our list before we talk about the big one.
Before the big one.
And it's called Playmobil, the movie.
Oh boy,
Oh boy,
the Lego
the Lego movie, but like not Mega Bloks, but Playmobil.
Is there a trailer for this?
I don't know. I was just like,
Can
this
I
is-
see it,
this is like-
please?
Like this, like
Can we look up everything? I need to know what this film is about. I can't possibly think this isn't.
Did you play any of the games?
I just want to know exactly what this will be.
Did you play any of the games, like the PC games growing up?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Let's get epic is their tagline.
Oh man.
That is
Daniel Radcliffe and Jim Gaffigan? What? Why? Why is this
Lambert.
movie happening? Adam Lambert, Megan Trainor? What is this movie? No.
this looks as bad as the
oh,
games.
that is so gross.
This looks as bad as
Oh,
the games.
wow. Wow, okay.
Ooh, the Bug Diaries. Just kidding.
That is very odd.
This looks like
Do yourself a favor and look up Playmobil the movie right now. And just look at those posters and see what they look like to you. It's very odd.
It looks like they're like, oh hey, let's just make our like YouTube mini series into like a full feature
I don't
film.
know why. Like, it has to be like piggybacking off of the Lego movie
Yeah,
somehow.
of course.
But like,
Oh, toys into movie form.
why?
Who is making it though? Oh, who made it?
I don't know. Who invested their money in this?
Yeah, on Animation Studios, independent film, Universal, Japan.
Universal Japan, of course.
What's the U.S. film? STX Entertainment. I
Yeah, SCX.
always Technicolor is always there, but like Universal.
Oh my gosh.
Why? I mean, there's distributor.
That's
I mean,
crazy.
why? I don't know. It looks funny. Like, why is this real? This
It's crazy. Makes me wish I could go back in time and change it.
Not know that movie is real.
Yeah.
Oh, it got pushed in November. Why is it still listed as the summer film? It was listed as the summer film.
November 2019. Go see Playmobil the movie.
I only put this list together like an hour and a half
with
ago.
Daniel Radcliffe. Maybe it'll be good. I really want to see this trailer now.
But do you know what is good though?
I don't know what's good.
Okay, this is the point in the podcast where you say
Spoilers! Wow, the chunk on that just
You,
went really
like,
loud.
blew my audio
Yeah,
out.
sorry about that. That's probably gonna be really loud. I apologize for the people that can't hear me right now, but spoilers.
spoiler alert.
Spoilers.
So okay,
Spoilers.
So in a nutshell, good. Go see it. Two things to tell you. One, avoid spoilers. Two, there's no mid or post credit scene, so don't sit through like 10 minutes of credits that we did, even though we knew that like it was reported that there weren't those scenes, and we
You
sat
never
there
know.
anyway.
The house lights never turned on at our showing though, so I was like waiting,
I feel like
and I
they
was
s-
like,
they
if
started
they
the
don't
movie.
turn on, maybe there's something like 15 minutes after it goes black.
I really
you
don't
never
think
know.
that they were really monitoring that.
No,
after
I
we went away.
we were at like a really late night showing, so I doubt there were even people like ready to clean up. I think it was more like a wait
Yeah.
for everyone to leave. And
Yeah, we went to-
can clean up at like 2 a.m. or something.
Yeah, we went to a preview of it Thursday and at 10 p.m. and like we watched so they had the as normal. They started like a minute late like normal.
Yeah.
And then like they played 5 trailers, and then we sat there for like a minute, and then they started the movie. I was like,
Shout out
was
to the lady who didn't stop her kid from screaming for
I
like
was
20
so upset.
seconds.
I was just thinking about like
I had no idea what they were saying on the screen in that time. So
Yeah, I was
let's
like,
hope that wasn't the part where they explained everything I wanted to know.
yeah, I was like really thinking about like as soon like after I felt like usually when you can see the screen change like it's like almost all the way black, but then changes it all the way black and then the movie starts. I was thinking about staying up. Okay, y'all, shut up. It's getting real.
It's getting real.
I thought it was so great though. We had Finn right in front of us.
Oh yeah,
Finn
That's good.
is one of the RDs here on campus at Sterling, and he has his bio.
He
says
was
he's
really
from-
happy.
he
But
has this,
we'll talk about that after, so we don't spoil.
Yeah.
I guess. So I guess
he's a
right
Marvel
now,
fanatic.
yeah, it was really fun to be behind him.
Say, go see the movie.
scenes.
If you have seen the movie, okay, you can listen to this.
Don't
if you
spoil it for people.
Don't
Don't be one of those people. Don't spoil the end game.
Don't spoil the end game.
spoil
Hashtag
the
don't spoil the end game. If you haven't seen the film and you don't care about spoilers, don't listen to this. I don't
Yeah.
care.
If you haven't seen the film and you do care about spoilers, still leave now.
And like
Please.
after this point, we probably won't talk about anything else at the end. There probably won't be like a special thing. So unless we say it in the comment section or whatever, like don't even skip forward. Just end it.
Hey, it's
And then
Endgame.
bookmark this page and then come back to it when you're done watching it and hear what we had to say.
Yeah, we'll wait for you to.
But
Watch it.
Right after this, yeah. This is our final spoiler warning right here. Spoilers ahead.
Thank you for not peeking my audio this time.
Yeah.
But yeah, spoiler alert.
Spoilers ahead, and now we're gonna talk about it, guys.
So, initial thoughts.
I really enjoyed it. There were so many spots in it where it's just like, this is exactly what I wanted this movie to be. Like, this is crazy. I feel like my complaint isn't one that a lot of people are gonna share, but my one complaint with this film is the lack of deaths. And I feel like everyone argues with that, but I'm really surprised we didn't have a few more people die.
We had
Like,
one person die.
other than the ones we figured.
Yeah, Iron Man died. Captain America's still alive. He's just really old.
Yeah, and then the sacrifice.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah.
That was the one
Yeah. Black Widow.
that surprised
I
me.
really thought it was gonna be Hawkeye.
I really did too. But
I was like-
they had to like resolve that though. Like this, for those of you who have seen it already, or those of you who haven't and are still listening for whatever
Get
reason,
out.
yeah, dinguses. Basically, Hawkeye seems to be almost one of the very central figures in this movie. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it shows. The one thing I like about this one is it shows what was happening for those of them who weren't there in Infinity War.
Yeah.
So like Hawkeye, it explains basically all of what he was doing with his family, and then it explains what Ant-Man was doing and all of that. Even
Yeah.
though we already saw that in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
It basically explains how all of it comes together still. And I don't know, it doesn't necessarily feel like it comes directly after Infinity War to me. Like, there does seem to be a little bit of gap for some reason. It's not like directly after it. You don't see them.
It doesn't feel
You
like a
don't
part
see them in
two.
Wakanda again. It's
Yeah.
not like we need to repair from this. It's like them and their headquarters trying to figure out what's
Yeah.
going on.
Well, because the first scene it opens on Hawkeye during the snap, like right before the snap, like 2 minutes before the snap, and then it happens, and
Yeah.
then it's like, oh, let's cut to the aftermath. And they're at Avengers headquarters and stuff, and so it's like, okay, so like it does take place like immediately after, but it's not just like, oh snap, that happened.
Nice.
Let's clean up. It's like
Nice.
we already, they already had all the memorials built and everything.
Yeah.
I feel
That
like
was really interesting to see.
That was
too.
cool.
The Ant-Man scene with that. Oh,
there should have been way more names though.
yeah.
There's like just one Lang.
Maybe-
there's
maybe-
one Lang out of the entire world.
I don't know if that was for the whole world though. Maybe it was just for that city.
Yeah, it was like location based. Yeah.
Maybe. But
I feel
I
like
don't know.
that.
Yeah. So that was my one major kind of complaint with it, was that I
One
feel
person
like
died, one person retired.
one person died, one
Two
person
people- two
retired,
people died, one
and
person
then
retired.
a person sacrificed themselves.
Yeah.
But I mean, and I guess like there are people with like the whole time thing that like died and were killed and stuff.
That doesn't
but
really count.
not necessarily. I mean,
Who you're referring to?
if you're thinking about specifically Gamora, so Gamora, as we know her, should still be dead, unless she was like trapped in the Soul Stone and we can get her back.
No, because
So when she sacrificed herself
no, she's dead.
in the first one,
She's gone.
yeah, as
That
far
can
as
be
we
undone.
know,
The Soul Stone didn't take her away, so it can't bring her back.
as far as we know, the Soul Stone didn't take her away.
They said it 3 times in the film. It's set in stone. In the Infinity Stones.
As far as we know. We'll find out in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 probably what's actually going on. And I think with like the whole like other Gamora thing, like I
Oh,
kind of want to
yes.
figure out how that's going to happen.
Yeah, cause that's like my like one of the biggest reasons why I want to watch it again. It's just one, it's like awesome film. 2 is like, dude, that was a lot. I need to read-chew that. And then 3rd, like the time travel stuff, because like like time travel is like a really big thing for me. It's so easy.
It's
to screw
really
up.
hard to do in films, and they
Yeah.
could literally just have been like, and nothing happened that we've seen on screen today. Everything's different now.
Yeah, and then it's like, but then they blatantly say like, "Hey, we're not doing this." Then they rip off like every time
It's
travel
so
film
weird.
ever.
They legitimately say like, it's not this way. You can't like change the past and do this, and then literally the scene
They're like-
with what the wise one. What is it called?
The ancient one.
The ancient one. It's literally like you're creating these alternate realities right now, and you're ruining them by taking the stones away. And it's like you're not affecting your own past but you're like creating new,
A new one.
like
Like
new
Back to the Future.
pathways for other people.
Like Back to the Future.
Yeah, so it's like I don't know. It's like the whole pathway idea kind of helps me understand it more, but like
Especially with the visual representation.
I don't know. I think that adds in a whole moral dilemma that shouldn't even be there. Like, this choice you're making is creating more pathways. And it's like, that's for any choice. Like,
Yeah.
you're eating a sandwich right now. Like, Paul Rudd, you're eating their sandwich. Like, that was their sandwich. What if they get pissed off at you?
Yeah.
So, like, that could have been a new pathway. Like, and that makes it a whole moral thing. Like, doesn't that mean if they, like, save their universe, they're, like, creating thousands of universes where they're not being saved? Like,
Yeah.
so what's more moral? Like, them being one that's not saved? I don't know.
See, that's what I wanted to why. That's why I want to watch it again, because like when they went back and to go get the Tesseract and they screwed up, and then Loki grabbed the cube and teleported away. So then they had to go back to World War II and get it before all
Yeah.
that happened. So I was like,
It's like somehow that didn't change how it was in the movie.
So did it make like a non-canon loop?
Yeah, and it's like that way. Like even with what happened with Thanos, then like that means Gamora shouldn't have been sacrificed. If it was like every other time travel movie where they changed the past, like, oh, we saw the future now, so now we're gonna go do this instead. It's
They
like,
could just also go get Black Widow, another Black Widow, and just bring her
Yeah.
back too.
it's just weird. So like that means there's literally like two of Thanos. One of them dies in this timeline, and one of them goes on even though the one before him was dead. And it's like
Well,
you're just like, it's almost like creating a doppelganger that lives in the same timeline as
It's
you,
the same
but
person.
it's like it's so weird.
Well, they
doesn't make any
They
sense
explored that
to
with
me.
Nebula because like they had her wireless technology.
Yeah.
It was her because her subconscious her consciousness had to be like wirelessly sent to her all her electronic parts too. But then they were
Exactly.
mixing with because they're in the same space. But like one thing I was thinking about like with that like with the old people in the present day. The only one I think of like it actually like made sense was like in terms of like, oh, this is the new reality. Like Gamora obviously isn't there. She's like, is this guy? She's like, yeah,
Right.
it's either him or the tree, and just like we're not having that discussion.
Yeah.
But then with like Thanos, it's like Thanos knows what he wanted. He knows what he wanted for years.
Yeah.
And he knows where he wanted to go with it. So when he's like, oh, I wanted to, take away half of the universe, and then I'll have a grateful half for the ones that survive. It's like,
Yeah.
no, they're ticked that like you killed half of us. And so it's
Yeah.
like, I'm just gonna kill all of you and birth a new one,
Yeah.
a new universe, and they won't even know about it. And it's like,
Exactly.
So it's like he's like, oh, I already know my original plan didn't fail. Here's Plan B, and like it's like, oh, so this Thanos is like literally. Like just picking up from the other one, he's just 5 years younger.
Yeah.
Which is, I feel like it's like, hey, your combat should be slightly less.
yeah, it's really weird.
Because he had a way better, like weapon too,
Mm.
like the double bladed sword.
Yeah,
That thing was cool.
that
but I
was
was like,
really cool.
but I felt that should have been like Infinity War, Thanos, not Guardians of the Galaxy 2014 Thanos.
Yeah, and this is a totally unrelated topic, but it's been what I've been thinking about for the past few minutes. Like the one thing I'm really interested about in like future movies is if we're gonna see the stones again.
Yeah.
And I feel like we definitely could have like some involvement with that, but like I still want to see the dynamic of some of them because like we've seen the stones from the very first movies. I mean, if you're not including Incredible Hulk, like you saw it in Iron Man. In
in the Cuban, in the first Iron Man.
yeah, because that's the Tesseract. So it's the stone.
Wait, it was introducing Captain America. What scene are you talking about?
Isn't the Tesseract in Iron Man?
It's the Tethrac's in Captain America because that's what powers all the when it was like, oh, it's all the vaporized technology. No, you're actually transporting the Smallverse. Also, where did all those people go that they quote unquote vaporized? But I don't think it was in Iron. It was the first one was in Thor
Weird.
when they had the fake Infinity Gauntlet. You know when they had the Infinity Gauntlet in Odin's treasure room, and then in Thor
Right.
Ragnarok, like fake, and just toss it aside.
Right.
But it's definitely
I don't- anyway, it's
They've been
been
building up-
something that's been in the series since very early on.
I mean, they were obviously thinking about it at that time.
Yeah, and I just want to know if we're gonna see them again, and secondly, like we still need to know some of their functionality, like the Soul Stone specifically. Like you see them like waking up in the pool of water and stuff.
Yeah.
and like that still hasn't been fully explained to me. And like didn't we see like young Gamora when
In
he was
Infinity
talking to
War.
her? Wasn't he like talking to her after he woke up from the pool?
After he snapped,
Yeah,
he talked to her.
but he talked to her. So I want to know what exactly that is. Like if that's like a delusion of his
soul
mind,
realm?
or if that's literally like where the soul is kept after stuff like that happens. Or I just want to know what that is,
Yeah.
and if they're ever gonna bring that up again.
Yeah.
Especially like I feel like we could still see that Gamora come back somehow. I don't know if I'm obviously not saying like let's do a cop out, like bring her back, okay, now she's here and everything's fixed. Like obviously nothing's gonna be like that easy. It doesn't have to be like hero ex machina, like okay, now she's back
Yeah.
randomly. But
Except-
I want to see if this Gamora will come back at all.
The child Gamora.
Either child Gamora or like Gamora as we knew her. Even though
2014 Gamora.
I feel like that's a little less likely, but I want to know what's happening with child Gamora.
Yeah.
If that's like a vision of him or whatever. And then like, speaking of Vision, like I want to know if, because I feel like Vision probably won't come back
No, because
because he was like totally.
because he was part artificially created. He was part Jarvis and he was part Soul Stone, and so they were trying to. So that's what that was the big thing at the end of Infinity War. Is like, oh, we're gonna remove the Mind Stone from him. It's like, so what parts of Vision will we have left? And like, I don't know. He's the third. He's the third Mind Stone.
Maybe the part of him in Mind Stone
so
is still there somehow.
They were
They
trying.
can-
They were trying to.
Yeah.
They were trying to get all the personality out of the Mind Stone, and so just have it in the body with the Jarvis interface, but they obviously didn't do that quick
Yeah.
enough.
So who knows?
Also,
maybe,
Scarlet Witch, you should have just stayed up there.
and like maybe they'll bring him back somehow in some form in a future movie. We still don't know if there are going to be any like future Avengers movies because it won't be
Yeah,
the
because
main team, obviously.
yeah, because Joe and Anthony Russo said they're taking a break because they've been helming it since
Yeah.
Civil War. No, they did Winter Soldier too, right?
I think so.
I think so. And so like, but then, especially since the Civil War, Age of Ultron. Yeah, since Age of Ultron. But then like, as soon as Civil War happened, they're like, okay, you're taking the whole thing. And then even with this one, like, so James Gunn was also an executive producer for the film to make sure like everything was like cohesive. So like, but like, they don't have anything announced further than Far From Home. They have
Yeah.
ideas for a Black Widow film, but we don't know if that's gonna be a film or a series yet.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see what happens in the MCU after this because
Yeah.
we have like all the confirmed stuff
For the
and,
Disney Plus.
yeah, and like some of the movies that they're in the works but not like fully
Announced,
developed,
yeah.
obviously, and announced.
They still want to do a Nick Fury film. I'm like, I feel like at this point you don't need one
yeah.
because like, oh, he's
See,
a
I
mysterious
think
character.
it would be interesting. Like we seen Captain Marvel.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Like all of that kind of stuff, and like that's great.
He just started.
And
yeah.
like I would have loved to have seen something like that earlier on.
Yeah.
Or like even if it was like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and they explained it there and like somehow actually like link the two together because it's they're technically in the MCU but it's not. None of them are like impacting each other. Like Avengers will be impacting the series, but
doesn't
the series
impact
does not
Avengers.
impact them at all.
Yeah, and so that's
Which is really dumb because they have like the Inhumans and all of that stuff going on and
well, it's supposed to be for more hardcore fans, for people who just watch the movies, so they
Yeah.
don't feel like they're left out with when the Defenders is out. And it's like, oh, we didn't watch that show, we don't have time for it. It's like, well, you're not gonna miss out. But for people who watch the Defenders, who watch the Inhumans, like they're gonna get things that most Marvel fans don't get. And I'm like, okay, I can see that. Like
well, I'm not talking about those though because those aren't part of the MCU.
Inhumans is,
Inhumans is.
Defenders is. Defender is it's the Netflix series.
It's not part of the MCU though.
Yeah, it is.
Not officially.
Yeah, it is. Daredevil and like Jessica
Is not
Jones.
part of the MCU.
Yeah, it is. The Hell's Kitchen is part of the aftermath of the Battle of New York. That's why it's a crap place.
But it's not connected to MCU.
It is. They talk about Iron Man and Thor in season 1. They have explicit references to them.
Yes, they exist in the universe, but it's not the MCU.
It is. They had a Battle of New York newspaper in there. It is. It's part of the MCU. It's the adult version of the MCU. Street level adult version.
That's so dumb.
It is. Oh no, it's not
that
dumb.
what- it's just-
it's part of the MCU.
That's not connected though. It's so
It is.
dumb.
It is.
Not well, obviously.
Well, it's not like Daredevil's not going to show up in the Avengers movies, but they're going to make
Obviously.
a butt ton of references to it in the show. but it is part of the MCU. It's production company. Marvel Entertainment. Why doesn't it say most? It is part of the MCU. I've seen the 2 seasons of Daredevil. I've seen the first one twice, I believe. It should say like on the bottom of the posters that it is. But it is part. Okay, so it's got the Marvel logo. It doesn't say studios on it, but they've only been using studios since the 2000s. Like once Marvel Studios happened, they've been having that logo on it.
Weird. I don't know. None of them have obviously been very well connected, is what I'm saying at least. Because, like, they make references to it, and then none of them affect each other, and, like, I feel like, it doesn't feel like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is in the same universe as any of these shows, even though, if they are in the MCU, which they are, it doesn't, I don't know, none of them correlate at all. Obviously, these ones are in, like, their own universe as well, so they're all linked to each other. But, like, we're not going to see, like, a Jessica Jones, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. crossover. And we're not going to see any of those characters from any of the TV shows
I wanted
in the
to see.
series.
I wanted to see Heroes for Hire. Oh, Luke Cage and Iron Fist.
I wanted to see that.
But we're not going to now.
We're not going to because they canceled all their.
Unless they somehow, like, find the rights for it.
Well,
And, like,
it's-
reboot it with the same people.
well, because like originally the deal with Disney was to make the show, and so then they did, and then they made the actual Disney deal to have all the other Disney content, and then since Disney's doing Disney Plus, they're pulling both deals out,
Yeah.
which
And
sucks. Which like if you just
It's
stick
really
with the
because
Disney
they, like,
deal,
started building up, like, that universe, and obviously it's technically part of the MCU. But, like, they started, like, connecting all of those shows together.
Yeah.
And the Defenders. But they left out Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
yeah,
because it's not
Why is everyone
because that's
keeping on, like,
ABC. Then,
yeah,
I don't know.
Well, ABC is owned by Disney though. It's been owned by Disney for a long
Right,
time.
but it's not connected because of the Netflix one.
Well, wait, what
It's
do you mean
not connect. It's not connected to the Netflix ones because of
through the
differences.
MCU, but they don't like.
Right. So they're all in the MCU, but they aren't connected to each other,
Yeah, they're not
Explicitly.
Well, they're not gonna do crossovers.
which is really messed up for everything that's happening in each of the different shows. Because
Yeah.
like what I was saying about Inhumans is like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has the Inhuman characters happening because of the particles.
Yeah,
So like they're all being caused in the Terrigens or whatever, and like all of that's happening.
yeah.
And then you don't see that anywhere else in the MCU whatsoever.
It's with all the Kree stuff.
Kind of.
Everyone's like, who
But you don't.
Yeah.
Obviously, like in the films, it's like, oh, we have superheroes now. This is weird. It's a weird world we live in. But it's not like a lot of people are turning into superheroes right now because of these particles and everything's going crazy.
Well, it's only
like-
for certain people though.
Right. But
Wait.
like the way they did it in the thing is like they released it to a majority of a huge population. So like say if they released it into all of New York. So like that would be something where it's not like Marvel can just say, okay, we're gonna Men in Black this, like wipe everyone's memory.
Yeah.
We're gonna send in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the cleanup crew and like make sure this doesn't happen. Like it's very clearly like not linked together well.
Well, like I think it's because for the movies you don't need to know the smaller things that happen.
Yeah.
So with
like, if
with
this
all
was-
like the side stuff that happens, it
Yeah.
fits to be on TV show and shouldn't be mentioned
But
in the movies.
if this was the legitimate universe, that should totally be impacting that. And it's like, I just wish they could build them so they actually did that with each other.
like at least mention them because they give them a
like-
shout out or something.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is nice because they do have, like, characters from the movies come in, like Thor's in a few of them, and some of the different things are happening. So, like, it makes sense if you're, like, watching them, and it gives you, like, a little bit of time in between it. So it's, like, watching the series, okay, this is what's happening now in the world, and then, boom, movie happens, and they do, like, a Thor-themed episode because of Thor Ragnarok, and then they do whatever
In
themed
Agents of
episode
S.H.I.E.L.D.?
because of other ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
In Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
That really
But
happened
That
with
doesn't
the-
happen in, like, the other shows.
Well, it's because of like with so like the first big one that happened was
Mm-hmm.
with when like when this is actually happening was people didn't really realize it because the show came out during like whenever Iron Man 3 came. It was like before or after, I don't know exactly when the pilot aired, but like all the Extremis stuff, like that came. They didn't say it was Extremis until way after Iron Man 3, but then like everyone like realized like, hey, this is tied to this is still tied to the MCU with Winter Soldier because Shield is Hydra, and then it changed with they had the Thor: The Dark World episode where they had to go clean up the UK, and then they had they helped set up Age of Ultron with the German, I forget his name. His name escapes me right now, but like they were talking about like Loki Scepter and stuff, and like they have like they were part of that, and then they almost like referenced them in the beginning scenes of Age of Ultron. I wish that they did.
Yeah,
but it's like it's like I got a friend who found me Loki Scepter. It's like
and that's what I'm saying though, because like we don't see like any of those characters like legitimately going into like the Defenders or any of those series and stuff, and it's like this feels like it's unnecessarily linked to the MCU. And it could have been its own thing, and then they wouldn't have had the problem with like Disney Plus and the rights to it and all that stuff. They could have just done reboots of stuff, and then done a different whole thing.
I'm just I think it's cool because it's like I think of like fans of like levels. Like level 1 fans are ones who just watch the movies. Level 2 fans watch the movies and the shows. And so, like the level 1 fans aren't feeling left out. But like I don't have a problem with that. I have a problem with people like Daredevil who should be with level 1.
Exactly.
Daredevil, Luke Cage.
Exactly.
But if you get like other like small heroes, like you have like the Secret Avengers.
These are the Avengers that have been found, and all of them are conquering the big problems. I'm gonna focus on preserving Hell's Kitchen.
Well, it's like everybody in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. should be in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. apart from the movies. Everyone in the Netflix series should be with the movies.
Exactly. And it's like I just wish there was a way for them to like finally cohesively bring everything together, have all the universes impact each other without it like going too overboard. Like you could literally say like
they want to do that
like,
though.
And I know that's what I feel like that's what they're going to try to do with Disney Plus, hopefully.
I don't know.
And I think that could finally happen, but like honestly, if you wanted to do like a different universe, just start a second universe with that, because like that's what we mentioned, like Spider-Verse. There's so many different continuities and so many different universes. Like, it doesn't matter necessarily what happens to this one because there's always another universe they can go to and pull out different things from. Mm-hmm. So, like, Marvel, there are so many comics, so many comics.
Parallel universes.
So many universes, so many different things. Comics all based on, like, the Ultimate Universe, comics based on all these different universes. Mm-hmm. There's so much stuff for them to pull from. But, like, if they're trying to make it one universe right now, like, bring all of that together.
Yeah.
And then just say, oh, this is not in the same universe, or it is. Don't, like, try to link them together when you don't have to. Mm. I don't know. Like, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is nice, and I think they do it okay. But I wish they brought up the Terrigen thing. Yeah. At least a bit in the series.
I was like a bit more open about the Kree too, because like they introduced the Kree in the show, and I was like, yes, we finally get the Kree.
I'm surprised they hadn't been introduced years ago.
Yeah, and then it's like we just don't see it till Captain Marvel, and everyone was like, who's the like literally John was asking on the way there, was like, who's the Kree? I'm like, we were introduced to them in
huge Marvel.
It's like we were introduced to them in 2013 finally. I mean, like because they were still exploring they touched on space with Thor. But then, like, they hadn't started getting into Space Guardians of the Galaxy. So it's like, that was a little bit early, but I'm like, in terms of, like, just the Marvel Comics universe in general, like, they're pretty big.
And then, like, problem-wise, like, obviously, that's the one bad thing about this is, like, it's really hard for people who aren't going to be super invested into it. Because it's like, like, I haven't seen a lot of the... I've seen, like, a lot of the older films, like, maybe once or twice. I've seen, like, Iron Man... the original Iron Man, like, plenty of times. I've seen, like, all of that series plenty of times. Captain America plenty of times. But, like, certain movies like from the series, films? Like
Phase 2
specifically,
films?
like, Age of Ultron, I've probably only seen that once. A few of the other films I've probably only seen once. And, like, for people that don't actually care about the MCU, people that are, like, the casual moviegoer, like, oh, this looks interesting, like, I don't know if they can fully appreciate Endgame. Like, obviously, they can't fully appreciate it, obviously. But, like, it's going to be very confusing. Like, even for me, it's like, okay, wait, now who's this person? It's like, oh yeah, this is the person from this movie. Okay, this finally makes sense. And then, like, especially, I think the one great thing about Endgame is they're bringing in all these, like, side characters from, like, all of these huge things like so Thor Ragnarok, a lot of the side characters from that are finally being pulled into the actual Avengers series, and that's amazing and that's great. Like, yes, I love that. That was great.
Korg's playing Fortnite.
And like, I don't know, just all the stuff with that is wonderful. But like,
For people who
for
casually,
people that don't understand, it's like,
who's this rock
wait a
guy?
minute, who's this one? Like, if you didn't see Thor Ragnarok, it's like, who are these people? Why are they important? What did they do?
Or they have like all the lines, like so, like with Infinity War, I was upset with everyone's like, oh, I haven't seen all the movies. I'm like, don't go see it until you see all the movies. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'll just watch a recap video. I'm like, you're gonna watch a recap video about 10 years worth of stuff, like. You're not gonna be emotionally invested in this. Like,
And that's
oh, I
like-
feel like I can't. Like, no, you can't.
That's how I feel like talking about this right now. It's
with-
like we're talking about something on like a total side rant. We're not even talking about Endgame right now, just because we have so much to talk about in the MCU in general.
Because it literally unpacks everything. It's just like random, obscure, like little tiny details.
Exactly, like the elevator scene, all these little
Yeah.
things, like things that were like more smaller scenes from like other things, and like it is so intricate. It is a masterpiece, but like
I was just,
it is crazy.
and I was like, with the time travel stuff, I'm like, oh, like they completely like dissed like every time travel film that came out, except especially like, I'm like, come on, Back to the Future, like, yeah, obviously, but like, dude, don't just. They openly say it's like, so you're telling me that
Yeah.
Back to the Future is bullcrap? Like, yeah. But then like the only other film that I've seen that has gotten time travel correctly, and it's really sad, is Alice Through the Looking Glass, and. You haven't seen that, right?
No, I
So
haven't.
did you watch the first Alice in Wonderland?
Yes, I
The Johnny Depp one. So it's
Yeah.
a sequel to that, and it's basically about the queen, and I forgot who her sister was, but like they sibling rivalry, like they hate each other, and so but then like the red queen blames the other one for everything that's happened to her. And especially like her big head, it happened because she hit her head and got all swollen, and it never swelled down. It never went back down. And so like they go back in time, try to go fix that. But then when they go back in time, they create all these other problems. Like they go back to go fix all these problems. But then when they actually go there, it turns out they're the ones that's causing it.
Right.
Alice is the one that causes everything. Like, why did all this stuff happen? You're supposed to go back and fix it. It's like, I accidentally caused all these things to happen. So if you didn't just go back and try to fix it, everything
Wouldn't have happened,
And
yeah.
so it's like, because that's why I hate what shows like The Flash. Like, go back in time to change the present. It's like that's not how that works. Because if you change the past and affect the present, and everything's hunky dory, you will have no need to go back in the past. You know, if
Exactly.
you rewind it, you won't have any reason to go back and fix it, which means you wouldn't have fixed it. But then with Alice Through the Looking Glass, I was like, dang, that one I got it right. But Endgame takes it a step further, and like, which is why I want to watch it again to understand exactly
Yeah.
how they said it. Because they said it's not Back to the Future. You don't create multiple timelines.
Right.
But then with the ancient one, they showed that.
Yeah.
But then it was black though. She said it's different. It doesn't work like as another timeline. In that sense, it works in like its own thing.
Yeah.
Because like in Back to the Future, you go back. They went to the future. Oh, they went to back, and then went back to the present, and it was different. And then went back to the past, and then came back, fixed everything, and then came back to the present, and then everything's fine again. They're saying that's not how it works. It doesn't create like a pipeline, go back to
Yeah.
the normal one. It's in its own thing, and so I need to watch it again to see exactly how they explain it, because they brought it up like twice. And like the second time when they were dissing all the other time travel films, like they definitely explained it better. But I was just like, why are you hating on Back to the Future? Yeah, thank you for hating on Hot Tub Time Machine, but like, but like, there was a lot of, it was very fast paced. Yeah. Also, yeah, that did not feel like a 3-hour movie.
Yeah, definitely. Especially like Infinity War felt like 5 hours long.
It was 2.5 hours long. It felt like 3 hours. This one was 3
Was
hours.
3
It felt
hours.
like an hour and 45.
I wouldn't say that.
Like
but
2.
It felt like 2 hours.
like 2
2.5 hours to me.
One of the biggest things I was like, I was thinking like all like the big character things that happened when all like the primary Avengers were introduced to the film following the snap. Like that's like when like a big like every big thing like happened, because like especially with Thor, I did not see beer belly Thor,
Yeah.
and I was like, wow. And like now, like when I keep on seeing all the ads again after the movie, and I'm like always like looking down there, like is he fat? And I think they're actually using shots from Infinity War
Yeah.
because he still has his haircut, but he grew it back out for Endgame because he's
Yeah.
lazy and plays Fortnite with Korg. I was really surprised at that, and yeah, and then with Bruce finally getting a handle on Hulk. And, you know, he's like mid-sized Hulk now, but it's because it's both Bruce and Hulk.
Yeah.
That was so funny when they went back to Battle of New York. And it's-
Brr.
Victor, that. Rawr.
Yeah.
He's
That's
like,
really
that's not me anymore. I'm not the monster anymore.
Yeah.
That was super funny.
Yeah. Unrelated note. I think one thing I'm looking forward to is like seeing some standalone films again, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like I know they're probably gonna do like the trend they've been doing recently, which is like doing superhero pairings in them, which I'm fine with. Like
Really, Homecoming?
Spider-Man Homecoming, they did Iron Man and Spider-Man, which is great.
That makes sense.
Ragnarok, they did Planet Hulk, basically.
Yeah.
So like Hulk and Thor, and that was good. And I like the way they've been doing that, and that's been really nice. And I think doing it that way will be fine. I just like you have to have like a degree in Marvel to understand these films now.
Yeah, because it's like phase 1 is like everyone has their own film and they come together in the Avengers. And then
Yeah.
phase 2 is like, oh, they're all apart. They talk to each other.
Yeah.
And then they come back in Age of Ultron. And then since then, they've been together.
And I feel like
Civil War.
you could have them like pop up in something and be there for like a few minutes or something, but like you don't need it to be a huge thing unless it's literally like Thanos coming back or like anything crazy like that. If you brought in like Doomsday.
Well,
Anything
because
crazy
they
like
like literally called Civil War Avengers 2.5. It's like,
Yeah.
why? It's like, because everyone's back in this movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, like everyone teamed up in
It's
in
funny because like
Avengers. and
Civil
then
War,
they're
it
fighting
used to be
against each other.
Avengers Civil War, and then they changed it to Captain America Civil War after a few years of being in the process for it.
Because they wanted to be political about it with him and Tony.
I'm still upset neither of them died in that one. Because
In
like
Civil War?
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
like,
'cause
in
that
the
was-
comics, like
Yeah,
Cap.
and that's when Spider-Man revealed his identity. But we obviously didn't have Spider-Man in the MCU to do that.
Even
And
though
he was
like
full
in
grown,
it
dude.
for 5 minutes.
And he was, yeah, hey everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, and then, like in the comic,
Underoos!
Underoos. He used to see that really old movie, Empire Strikes Back. Like, who hasn't seen Star Wars?
That's my favorite thing. My favorite thing in the entire MCU is Peter Parker just like saying movies that everyone's seen. Like, have you ever seen this? Like, I was there in the theater when it was made. Like, I was in this film. Peter, get out of my level.
Yeah, or like
There's this thing like right now is like, wait, you're a fan of Star Wars? Doesn't Mace Windu look familiar?
it's like, I mean, I know he doesn't have both eyes, but he's still kind of
Bald, black, and sounds like Samuel L. Jackson.
or didn't you watch like Jurassic Park or something?
Welcome to Jurassic Park. Wait a minute.
Hold on to your butts.
And Chris Pratt.
Chris-
Jurassic World.
Jurassic Park. Oh,
Wait a minute.
You're talking about
Yeah.
older films like Pulp Fiction.
I'm waiting for them to like reference their own films and just be like, "Wow, that was a great film, great main actor." Like, thanks.
Well, we kind of had that with Infinity War when we had Benedict Cumberbatch and Robert Downey Jr. make their Sherlock Holmes references.
Yeah.
Do you concur?
I was like, can we get...
I want to get Martin Freeman on there
And
too.
of course, in the Lego Movie,
The Lego movie.
all of Chris Pratt's characters.
yeah.
His like anti-character is literally like
I
all
don't-
of the things he acts in.
Yeah, I really didn't like
Rex
that
Dangerfield.
plot twist. It's like, oh, we get another Chris Pratt character.
Was
I'm like,
that not
"That's
obvious
Emmett."
enough for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, like as soon as they said it, I was like, who voices that new character? I'm like, oh, it's Chris Pratt. I'm like,
It was
that's
very
Emmett.
clearly Emmett the whole time.
I know.
Like, all of them were allusions to everyone who Chris Pratt has ever played.
Yeah, and that's just how Lego movies are. It's built on all those things. That made the first one work so well, but it kind of ruined the second one. Kind of.
Hey,
in a
people
sense.
out there who have a lot of money and run a bunch of different cinema companies, can we have a Chris Pratt multiverse, please?
Yes.
I want to see like a Chris Pratt from Magnificent Seven
Oh,
talking
yes.
to like Chris Pratt from Jurassic World and Chris Pratt as Guardians of the Galaxy and
Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec, yes. all of these like coming together and just being like, what the heck?
I thought that they were gonna make a line with him. And it's like as soon as I saw Chris Pratt, or as soon as I saw Star Lord enter the battlefield, I was like, he's gonna be like, y'all hate me, don't you? I thought they were gonna say something like that.
There's a part where someone like beats the crap out of Chris Pratt in this movie, and I'm like, I feel like that's payback enough.
Gamora,
Yes, that.
because when she like when he kissed her, and it's like she kneed him, and she's like, and then she kneed him twice. She's like, oh, the first time you missed, but the second time you hit both of them. But she didn't know. She didn't.
I feel so bad for Peter in that moment because it's like that must be terrible. Like she's dead,
Yeah.
and then you come back,
And you were responsible for half the universe.
even though that had to have happened for it to be the one chance.
It was still like. Did you see what Chris Pratt posted on Instagram after that? Everyone started hating on him for it because there's like, yeah, everyone.
I can't remember, but I did.
He kept on saying like the like, oh well, that's what Doctor Strange said was going to happen. Like, so it had to happen anyway. But then everyone's still like, I still hate you for doing that. And so he like posted pictures of, he got 2 Star-Lord action figures. He's like, I'll go F myself. And it showed the action figures doing their thing.
Cool.
Yeah. But then ever since then, there's just like, everyone's like, oh, hate on Chris Pratt for punching Thanos in the face and making
I feel like we need to get this back on track now. What are your top 3 moments in the entire thing?
Mjolnir and Cap.
Mjolnir.
Oh, I clapped. Dude,
that was so good.
We fist bumped so
That
many
was
times.
so good.
I like clapped.
Whenever
and
I
fist
was like,
bumped.
this
I was
feels like the movie is like at his.
I was like, keep on thinking like, I think Age of Ultron. I'm like, he wiggled it. I'm like, no, he's way more worthy than Thor. When's he going to do it? When's he going to do it?
When they switched, I'm like, no, I get the bigger one.
Yeah, he's like, you get. He's like, yeah, I want the big one.
There were a lot of really good Captain America scenes in this one.
Oh, yeah.
Him fighting himself. Oh,
Dude,
that was so cool to see.
that's America's butt.
I saw one of the you know how they did for Infinity War the spoilers without context.
Yeah.
They did the out of context spoilers for this one, and it was
haven't seen
literally
those
like
yet.
his butt in a flag. And I laughed so hard. And one of them was like the old man things for the one dude, and like the fat Thor, and some of the other ones, and it was really funny.
You know Blake Potts, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's like, what's your favorite scene for the movie? I'm like, oh, I'm like, mine's spoiler. She's like, oh, mine's America's bad. I'm like,
That's funny.
and she's like, yep, there it is. I'm like, oh, of course.
That's funny.
So what were yours?
I think overall that whole scene, before not including like the Mjolnir part, obviously, like all of them finally coming together, like the moment when all of like the portals are like opening up and all of them are like stepping through and joining, and then when they like do the running thing finally, like it felt so good having everyone back.
That's
finally.
such a Lord of the Rings feel to it.
Yeah.
I was like, please don't make just another CGI battle and just like everyone's just gonna
like
clump
I don't know.
together.
I
I'm
really it reminds me of Infinity War where they're like all of them running at once, and I feel like that one was really cool to watch because it was like all of them running. And this one you don't really see that, but you see like the 2 armies just like clashing.
So like with me, like for the Infinity War, that felt more like a Hobbit style, like Battle of Fire Armies. Like, oh, just run together, fight, mindless. But then like this one,
but
is
this
like,
one like specifically seeing
like,
them
the
have like
creatures
the
and stuff.
goal. Yeah, that too.
the big like creatures, like, oh, they're actually like controlling these mindless beasts, and it's like, that's Lord of the Rings, and like that works.
I just like the whole teamwork in this battle is really cool because it's like, okay,
Especially
we need to
with
get
the
this over
gauntlet.
there. So like the gauntlet, like pass it over there. We need to get this to the bus at the end, and then like the part where it's like just the obviously like Thanos and them all fighting each other, like so good.
Dude, when Iron Man stole the stones, I was like, savage.
That was really good. Really good moment there.
I was just like, oh, he's trying to take over. I'm like, we've seen that too many times. It's like, oh, he took them all. He's like, I am inevitable.
I am Iron Man.
I am.
Man, I really wish it wasn't Iron Man that died in this one.
I mean, I feel like
I knew he was going to. I wish Captain America died too, because they gave him like a happy ending.
Yeah, it's like,
And
oh, he lived his.
I wanted him to die. As bad as that sounds, like I know Cap is like so many people's favorite
Why didn't he die
iconic characters.
with Peggy?
Yeah,
Well, to give up the mantle, give the mantle to Sam,
but like he could have like he
could've done that.
could have like left it on the bench and said like to Bucky or like what's his face.
Sam. Bucky and Sam.
Yeah, to Sam,
To Sam.
and had it like pop up instead with the thing wrapped around it, or
Yeah.
wrapped around like the handle. Like,
Yeah.
that would have been hilarious.
I mean, it had the suit go over the
Yeah.
hat and like have it. He could because he had all his friends there too.
I don't know. It was like a happy scene, but like, I feel like
It's satisfactory.
I feel like we didn't have any like good deaths though in this one. It feels like because like the Hawkeye and her thing, like that felt like a
that's
cop out,
competitive.
and it was like it was okay and it was good, but it wasn't
You knew it was
crazy
coming.
emotional for me.
When they said that they were like,
And
oh,
like
we're gonna go get the
Iron
stones.
Man was a little more emotional, and it felt like one of the better deaths. But like this film didn't have nearly as many deaths as I thought it would, and none of them, for me at least, were that emotional. And that's because like all of them were the older characters, and we knew with this one that they'd be like phasing out.
I really don't know what they're gonna do because like Thor, like he's like I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm like, yeah, you should have died, bruh, because like you could have passed the mantle.
Yeah,
You could have passed it to Tessa Thompson. They could have kept passed it to Valkyrie.
and like honestly, I like Thor now. Like his character development has gone so well,
That
and I
definitely
think
helped
he
me.
can still have a few more movies because he would be good.
Yeah, because I'm like every time I see a Thor movie, I'm like, why is he the only one worthy of Mjolnir when everyone else is so much better than him? And this one he's like, oh, he actually like realizes like, hey, this is real.
I'm really hoping we get like a Hulk movie again.
I wonder
Because like I don't know, I still need to rewatch Incredible Hulk because I saw that like once a long time ago.
I have it if you want to borrow it.
You should watch it at some point.
I have everything from Iron Man to Ant-Man plus Spider-Man: Homecoming. And so, dude,
And I have most of the stuff after that,
Yeah,
other
the-
than Ant-Man and the Wasp.
yeah, with the Phase 3 set's gonna be huge because it's everything from Civil War. Because I was like, Civil War is like one of my favorites because that's one of my favorite comic series. And I was like, oh come on, I copped out and I pre-bought the digital and it's like, no, I don't want Blu-ray.
Yeah.
And so I'm not gonna get it until the set comes out because I buy like the memorabilia sets, and so I was like, this is 5 years worth of stuff. This
Yeah.
is gonna be huge.
It's very huge. Yeah.
4 to 5. Oh, well, it feels like 5 years because they've been having 3 films come out a year. Because it used to be dead set on 2. Because first they didn't know what they were doing. They had Iron Man,
Exactly.
Incredible Hulk same year. Then next year, then they did immediately straight to Iron Man 2, and they've been doing 1 film all the way to Iron Man 3. It's like, oh, 2 films now, and then now they've been doing 3. I was like, what the heck? It does feel kind of weird having
Maybe we'll start getting 4 a year.
well, it just feels really weird because like you have like last year Black Panther, and then a month and a half later you had Infinity War, and then this time you had Captain Marvel, and then a month later you have Endgame. It's like
And a month from now, Spider-Man.
a couple months. Well, yeah, July 2nd. Yeah, that's the new date. Yeah, they bumped it up a couple days because they always get the 4th of July week. That's what was with Homecoming.
I know.
It's Sony's fault because
I know it was for Homecoming.
It's because of Sony. It's because of when they had Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 at the beginning of the summer, and then they had Thor, Doctor Strange. Where's the Thor?
Did you say Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, the Guardians of the Galaxy at the beginning of the year, and then the Doctor Strange at the end of the year. That was their fall release, and so like, well, Sony wants to put it in there, so they plugged him in the middle.
Yeah.
And so that's why you have 3, because you have 2 Marvel Studios ones plus the interference of Sony, which now it's 3 films, and it's like, that's fine. I mean, in the middle of the summer, it's like, okay, that works.
I feel like we won't be getting as much Spider-Man content soon, just because of the Spider-Verse thing going on.
Yeah.
Which is sad, because like
Spider-Verse-
both of them are really good, though. I really like both interpretations.
Spider-Verse. Oh.
Spider-Verse is great because it's just going to open up like what we were talking about earlier, just like bringing in so
Ultimate
much
dimension.
content from all of these different universes.
Because this one's all strictly Earth 616,
right?
and
But that,
that,
you were talking about like MCU.
yeah, MCU is
Okay.
strictly Earth 616. I think we're getting closer to it with the time travel stuff.
Yeah.
And when you saw Thanos die twice, you should have gone for the head. It's like, what the heck did you do? I went for the head. It's like, oh, he died. I was like, I figured like as soon as we saw him at the farm, like, he's gonna die. And it's like, wait, this is still like Thanos is still the main villain though.
Yeah.
And then like he dusted away. I was like, that's 2014 Thanos. So like we're getting closer to the parallel dimensions. So I think so. It's with the success of Spider-Verse, I think hopefully, like eventually we can get.
Maybe.
Well, like I think maybe eventually we can.
I don't know if I want that though. Like I feel like
It's already
the biggest
big
thing
enough.
for this one was like time travel, and like I hope we don't bring that up too much in the other movies. Like
I mean, Doctor Strange. did
I
it
just don't want
well.
that to become like the cop out thing. Like
Yeah, 'cause-
okay, we have time travel now. Let's go back and change things, even though they can't change.
That's one thing
things.
that I was like really like hesitant about like Doctor Strange, but like they kept it within a couple minutes though.
Yeah.
So you didn't like go back years and stuff and alter
Yeah.
things. They just went back and like and they relived it, like literally showed them reversing it.
Yeah.
So like that, I didn't have a problem with that because they weren't just like
Yeah.
I can change the past.
I just feel like there's so much stuff they can do that they don't have to like make this the center of everything. Like I feel like comments after every film now, it'll just be like, why didn't they just go back in time and fix this?
Well,
Why didn't they just do that? And it's like,
Well, then they also mentioned it like, why don't you just kill baby Thanos with the piece of string and choke him to this? Like that's terrible. Two, also if you didn't have Thanos, you wouldn't have Gamora
Yeah.
or
and
Nebula.
it's like, and we can't change it anyway, so we can't do that. This is like,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Let's
I
again,
feel
how
like
it
time
was.
travel was almost unnecessary. Like
Well,
it was
hopefully-
good, and I feel like doing the whole quantum realm thing was cool. Also, like I still feel like this makes Ant-Man irrelevant now because like all of them had like the Ant-Man suits.
Yeah, like the only thing that he can do is just tell them where the pin particles are. It was like, but they can. I mean, you have Bruce. He can, as soon as he sees the technology, and Tony, well, not anymore. But like he can like look at it like, oh, study it and learn how to make it.
Yeah.
And and they got. And you said you had an issue with them taking the pin particles from the lab.
Well, just because they were talking about how we need to like return everything, so it's like even if they're taking like the pin particles specifically, like they should still have to return those.
That's something that can be replaced though, because he can.
And it's
make
like
more.
I know for obviously the stones, those are very important objects. So if you take those away, it'll like dramatically change everything. But like
Well, like
these are still like quantum particles that you used for like time travel and other things and to make the suit. So like, could that possibly make irreparable damage for like the whole Ant-Man saga? Like, probably not,
I don't
and they
think
probably
so.
won't mention it ever again. But like, it just seems like something they could have explained in a different way.
Well, I think it's because it's a consumable. Well, I mean, because like the first test is with Hawkeye
And like,
getting the
if he
baseball
truly
glove.
did leave like the 3 other ones or whatever, but like, I still feel like Hank would just be in his lab, like, who stole these? I need to figure it out. What's going on, kind of thing.
Well, I think like he still get the point. It's like, okay, let's be realistic. I need some more. I don't have any more. I can make more. I'm gonna
Yeah.
make more. I think just realistic. He's like, when he went to the basement to go see the mail that wasn't there,
Yeah.
he's just gonna be like, okay, time
Someone did
to
this
move
to,
on.
like,
It's
steal
gonna be like a
stuff.
time to
Yeah.
move on. This is just another setback, but it's not a setback. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
Time to overcome it. But like,
I don't know.
well, like with the first test when Hawkeye went back in time and they got the baseball glove, and it's like, oh, they didn't return that. I'm like, it's just a baseball glove.
Yeah.
It's not like he took the medal. It's not like he,
Yeah.
took the dog.
I don't know. And it's like, I feel like in every other movie, they would be like the huge, like, oh, you took one thing and it's going to change all of reality. And
Back
like,
to the Future took the
thankfully, like, this should probably just be like, okay, you aren't fully doing that. This has already happened. So it's,
I think you have to like
the
weigh
thing.
the importance of the
Yeah.
item.
but I don't know. It still feels like there's some kind of like cop out in that, like, this doesn't impact it, but bigger things do. And even though it can't change the reality, whatever, and like, I just want that explained fully,
I think it's just something you have to
better
figure out
detail.
as you go along.
Yeah.
Which I like figuring out movies
which is
like
fine.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if they actually showed more examples of that happening, it would have made
Yeah.
it better. Because like those are like the only 2 examples. Because like everything else, like they really didn't change.
Yeah.
Because when they took the cube the
Mjolnir.
second. Well, yeah, they
then
returned
they
it.
returned
though.
it.
But like when they took the cube the
As
second,
far as we know, he returned it.
Cap took it with him, but he didn't. He didn't.
Doesn't
return
mean
with it.
he returned it to Asgard. We can assume he did, but that doesn't mean he did.
Let's just see.
I mean, we can assume he returned all of the Infinity Stones too. We never saw him do it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what that means in a Marvel film. Like, we didn't see any of Iron Man, like, working on the Iron Man gauntlet.
I mean,
The secret one.
well, I thought it was. I was like so cool about that with the movie. So like they didn't change the previous films.
Yeah.
They just went what happened after.
And I hope they continue to have it that way, because it's like, we don't need to have like a crazy.
We don't need to redo the MCU. They're not going to redo it. But like, I thought so. Especially like the first when they went to the first Avengers film, they're like, okay, well, let's stop posing and let's actually get some work done here. It's like,
Even that would be a great
was
story though. Them
funny.
fixing all of the MCU though.
yeah, I was like, that was funny. It was like, let's stop posing. Or like we've seen Thor put the mouthpiece on Loki to for him to stop talking. He just kept on changing. It's like things like that. It's just like, okay, that's funny, and like that's a good like callback. And
And I'm really interested just to see how the entire MCU will be different after this. See if they just keep bringing in more superheroes, and then I don't know if they're. I really hope they do something that's not just called Avengers in the future. Like they can do like these huge blockbuster things, but have it like not be
get a new
Avengers.
group.
Yeah. a new
What are
group.
the, so if they, so like
There are
since-
plenty to come from though.
well, because we have
like-
the secret
like,
Avengers
I wanna-
and Agents
like-
of Shield.
Especially with all these deals too, though, like Fantastic Four, all of the X-Men, Deadpool.
And so they want to reboot the X-Men, but they want to keep the same Deadpool.
They do officially.
Yeah. So
Because we had this conversation, and you're like, I thought they weren't gonna have him, but they were gonna keep it the same way. And I was like,
I'm like, it'd be
what?
funny, but then like they talked about it and
Yeah.
like they said like, okay, we are redoing Fox's X-Men, but Deadpool though that could still work.
Yeah,
But I don't know if they're still going to make
If it'll just be,
R-rated
like-
Deadpool films
yeah.
because Disney said they don't want to make any R-rated films, but
I hope they keep it the way they do.
like right
And
now,
I don't know. I feel like
you can't have a
Logan
PG-13
and
film.
Deadpool changed the game a lot
Yeah.
for what they could do with R-rated superhero movies.
Logan, you can be
And, like,
serious in
it-
R.
R is basically the standard for what all of the comics would be.
Yeah.
If you go into all of that, there's so much blood and violence and craziness, and it's like
Which is why the
these
Netflix series
people
works.
have superpowers. Of course, there's going to be crazy, throat ripping, blood gushing, terrible, evil, crazy monster things going on.
Which is why the Netflix
And it's
series
like-
works so well.
Yeah,
At least the first seasons.
if they had better CG.
Well, because they were doing more practical stuff
Yeah.
too. But like, I mean, think of like Daredevil. Like Daredevil, I think like Daredevil season 1 is like a masterpiece, and there's a lot of blood in there.
Yeah.
But like, and like, they definitely explored like the graphic side of things. Like, hey, you know, you see in the movies, like, oh, big explosion. Oh, there goes the building. No, you see someone drop a fire extinguisher. Someone said, you see the head cracked open. You see the blood
Yeah.
over the floor. It's like,
I feel like a lot of people argue with that too. It's like we don't need this to be like
Physics.
fully senseless. We don't need it. We can have like censorship kind of stuff, and like you kind of talk about that every once in a while. Just like people always complain about how violent and cursing and all that kind of stuff in every film, and it's like I feel like to some extent like yeah we don't need this, but like if we want to make it the way it is, or if you want to make it realistic at all, it's
Yeah.
like if you were facing this crazy thing, I think there would be some cursing, or I think there would be like, obviously there's gonna be a ton of blood, and,
they don't. They obviously don't make it as graphic as it would be
Yeah.
if it happened in real life.
and like even like
they're not doing it excessively unnecessary.
yeah,
like
even
Deadpool.
in like Deadpool, it's not even like crazy excessive in Deadpool. Like there were some scenes
There's
that
some
were,
things.
but like in the comics, there's some
He's
like,
literally just cutting himself open for fun.
crazy, deadly, terrible scenes in
Have
the
you
comics.
played the game at all? The game's the same way. Like he's like literally like he like literally uses his intestines like as a rope to climb up of,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
And like stuff like that happens in the comics all the time.
yeah, and that's just like who Deadpool is.
Yeah.
And but like
I don't know. I feel like I really hope there's a way for them to do like X-Men and Deadpool and make it like darker but not like worse. I don't know. I think there's a lot for them to do, and with this deal obviously there's a lot of options for them. And I don't know if they're going to like I really just want to see what they're going to do next. If they're going to like just keep adding more, or if they're going to like focus on like keep doing like big movies.
because I thought like with Endgame they said there's gonna be like a soft reboot. It's like, oh, so we're gonna kill some people off and we're gonna have some new people step up.
Exactly.
So I
And
was
like
okay,
with this, that's why I was kind of disappointed there weren't more deaths.
Yeah.
Because it's like if we're gonna keep adding characters, we can't have 500 characters
Does that-
appear in every Avengers.
there's like 34
movie.
major characters in Infinity War.
Exactly. And it's like I'm fine with like Guardians of the Galaxy existing something, but like I feel like if we're gonna ever do anything big like this again, we can't have like all 50 people fighting it. It has to be like a smaller size team. And like even with like Guardians of the Galaxy, you can see like 10 people in that, plus all of the other like small Guardians teams linked with it. And like that, there's that whole like universe there. We don't need them to be in every Avengers movie now, like especially since like the whole Thanos storyline is pretty over now, as far as I know, as far as we know.
Both Thanoses are dead. Both
Yeah.
the 2014 version
And
the
hopefully that like
2023 version.
hopefully that makes it so it's like, okay, Guardians don't interact with Earth anymore, go back to guarding the galaxy.
Yeah.
And hopefully like that changes that. And like I don't know, I just hope they can introduce more characters and not make it so it's like every big film is like, here are 50 people fighting off something crazy and terrible and impossible to fight.
Well, it's also hard
Like-
because of like the amount of screen time each one gets.
It's like, especially like in the series, it's exactly like how it would be like doing this whole like 20, what is it, like 20, how many movies?
That's 23 or 24.
23 or 24. So basically like the whole 23 things, that would be like so many comic series. Like it would be like, except it's not always like, so like Civil War was its huge one. All of the stuff for Infinity War would be like crazy amounts
Like
of stuff.
Ragnarok was both Ragnarok and Planet Hulk.
Exactly. And it's like there are so many things
Civil
all
War-
merging together,
yes.
and it's like they did this in like 23 or 24 movies. And like we don't need
And, like,
that to be how it is in every
And like Civil War was like a 5-year like running.
There was so many things.
the
that
main
was like
storyline.
that was the main storyline of the
the-
entire everything
And
basically.
the entire universe, and then like they have a couple things come out here now, but like the main storyline, like the core like 7 comics came out within like
Yeah.
a couple years, but like because like literally if you like look at like the timeline of every individual solo timeline, it tells you, okay, there's the pre-Civil War stuff, here's the Civil War comic, and then here's the post-Civil
Yeah.
War stuff in this storyline, and there's hundreds of comics that just go around those 7 that tie with direct references to it.
Yeah.
But like they cover that in one movie. It's like you have years worth of stuff in the Civil War comic book timeline you scrunched into a couple weeks.
Yeah, and I think overall, like, just I hope they don't make it so every movie is as big as this one has been.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, if you're bringing in some huge villain, like that'd be great, but keep it 23 movies from now.
Yeah, because like that's like one thing. I was like, well, you say you didn't really like watch seeing Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm like, Ant-Man and the Wasp is like definitely like this on the small side of things on the MCU.
Yeah.
Like I think it's like the smallest feeling movie, just because, well, not just because it's Ant-Man, but like just
The smallest
because
villain movie.
he's so small, but like just the fact that like so little happens in reference to everything else.
Yeah.
So like we get a giant
And I mean,
movie
that's
like
how a few
Infinity
of those
War.
things that you're worth, like, even Spider-Man doesn't seem like it's
At this point,
crazy
no,
connected.
and especially with all the stuff they're releasing now, because we saw the exclusive image, with both unmasked Mysterio and Peter shaking hands. I'm like,
But anything specifically involving the Infinity Stones,
we're not gonna talk about.
crazy.
Yeah, and they said they're not gonna release the next trailer because of it shows stuff from spoilers from Endgame, and it's like, can we like get a break and just see a couple solo films?
Yeah.
And I think
And that's what I
they've
hope, 'cause
been doing well with that.
That's what we've been hearing about, like Doctor Strange 2, Guardians of the Galaxy 3,
Black Panther
Spider-Man 2, Black Panther 2, Black Widow if that ends up being a series or whatever, and then obviously like, is
Immortal-
it Shang-Chi?
Something like that, and then the
then
Eternals,
The Eternals, yeah.
which will be another group film, which will be a little. I mean, it'll feel like more Guardians of the Galaxy. I think
Yeah.
they're gonna pick a main character and they're gonna add people throughout the film,
Yeah.
and at the end they're gonna team up.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like we've had so many like it's because both of these were like massive blockbuster films, and then
Yeah.
like everything else obviously is huge, but not
Yeah.
big compared to this. Like it'll be nice to have like a break from it again, even if it like I feel like they could be doing a lot of background work within like Disney Plus right now if they want to keep building this up, and then. I don't know. There's, like I said, there's so many like different universes and storylines and amazing arcs just to like pull stuff from. I just want to see what their next one is going to be. I really hope it's not just like more Infinity War kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
because
from
you can
all
only
the
do
shows.
that so many times.
And it's like I said, like even in this one, like the Captain Marvel side of it, like that was hero, like that was Deus Ex Machina. That's literally her like coming in, blasting everything.
She's like, "Oh, I'm super busy, gotta go."
Everything.
It's like, yeah, I'm super busy, gotta go. It's just
And it's like all of the superheroes are very powerful. Obviously, she's crazy powerful.
Yeah.
Above all of them.
She has the power
But,
of the
like,
Infinity Stone.
I just feel like we don't need to come back to the story arc, and we need to like have everyone separate again, at least for the time being. And even if there are like if there isn't like another Avengers film in a few years, just bring in like 15 people. Don't bring in like 60.
And that's and I think that's one of the things like why Civil War is still regarded as like one of the best made superhero films critically, because like you didn't have Hulk, you didn't have Thor smashing everything, and like you didn't need everybody.
Yeah.
And well, then
And
they
like
got
obviously
their
there's
movie.
like the scenes with it and stuff, but
Well, then they made the Team Thor video, which is that was funny. You saw that, right? Team Daryl, but that was because that they weren't in the movie. But it's like you don't need to have.
it's like I feel like especially after all of this stuff, like this was 5 years of their life taken
Yeah.
away, like without living with half of the people in the world. All of this crazy stuff happened, and then within a snap, all of that's returned. Like they're gonna need to take some serious like relaxation and stuff after this to like
and
just
they
to
were
cope
also-
with all the crazy mental stuff that's happening. Like I feel like, especially for what we have, like our superheroes need a break right now.
because they were like
Not
like,
all of them are going to be teaming up doing crazy stuff right now. They need like
Well,
a huge break from everyone else.
they were like, they came back and like, it's like I passed out and I woke up and you weren't there, and it's like, oh, so it literally felt like they just like blacked out.
But like
they had
all
no
of the
consciousness.
superheroes will have like all of those memories still, and like everyone else won't for some reason.
All
and
the
then, like,
dusted
somebody
won't have
won't.
not have memories.
But
of
what
finding-
about everyone else that lived the 5 years?
Yeah, they'll have the memories of not having them there.
And that's what's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and I'm like wondering, like I thought like
Especially for
I thought like
we definitely saw that though in like the Peter Parker scene.
So-
where he's going and hugging
Yeah.
Ned and all his friends.
yeah, he's like, oh, I'm back to school. This is so weird. I passed out. I came back. There's a giant battle, and then everything's back to normal, with a weird dystopian world. But then, like, I was like, I still thought like when he snapped. So I'm trying to wonder which stone did he use, because I thought it was the Soul Stone. So like, oh, they go to that water place, which I thought would be like the Soul Realm, and then like when he, when they bring him back, I thought it would be interesting to see like how they came back. Did they just the dust particles just come back together, or like how exactly did they formulate?
Yeah.
And well, I mean, it's as if they showed it off screen. It's like, okay, so they came back where they were dusted. So, I mean, that's all right.
I don't know if they'll like. I kind of hope they don't like bring in a bunch of stuff from this for like the rest of the like next 10 movies. It's not like everyone's like, oh, you don't know what it's like. And all of them are like going through intensive therapy and like.
Yeah.
I hope it's not that way for the next 10 movies. Hopefully everything's like back to some kind of normal in the next
I
one.
think
or at least
Spider-Man
even
helped with that.
even if it does, hopefully it like comes into a new story arc.
It doesn't like, oh,
It
this
isn't
whole
like-
movie's about depression. And
Exactly.
Because we had
I-
Iron Man 3. We had
yeah.
Iron Man 3 for that.
I really hope like the next Spider-Man movie is not just like everyone's in chaos and oh, this is why we're going to so many places, Peter. It's so cheap to get air travel now because everyone's afraid
Yeah.
to like go other places because they'll be separated from their families. Like
Because-
I hope this movie doesn't have a huge impact on the rest of the MCU, even though it will. I hope it doesn't like in that way. I hope it doesn't like
They'll always refer
Yeah.
back to it because that's what Iron Man 3 was.
Right.
It was, oh, this is panic attacks. It did a very good job of like showing people like having panic attacks. So it's like, oh, I can't have that. I can't do that. It's like, no, it's real. You're human just like everyone else. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Accept it and learn from it. And then, but then it was always like, oh, Battle of New York. You don't even say that because then that'll give me a panic attack. And it's like, but like, I don't like you're saying. I hope they don't do that. for
I
everything
just
else.
hope it's not like for the next like year and a half, just everyone like
I think
coming back out.
I think
of it.
Far From Home will help with that because he's literally taking a summer trip and going places after, because he went back to school at the end of
Yeah.
the end game. So then this summer trip after that, and so far it looks like normal because he's actually hanging out and going to places, and
And I hope it is.
so like they will obviously make Endgame references.
I'm
but,
wondering like from what we've seen of Far From Home, I'm wondering if like any of those like beings that are there were caused by the events of this, like if the elementals or something were like oh, you use this stone and it like somehow like brought these people back to like these were destroying the snap, but now they're here or something. I don't know. But yeah, so maybe. I mean, I hope that was like recording that whole time. Like, I hope we were both close enough to the mics for that whole time. Otherwise, we were just talking.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. I think there's so many different universes to pull from. There's so many different storylines. So much they can do. I just want to see what's next. Other than that, we didn't really talk about what actually happens in Endgame that much. I feel like we were just like
Oh, this spoiler
theorizing.
happened. Yeah.
theorizing what'll happen.
But like
next.
the movie, like so, like Infinity War, like huge, but left on a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Endgame, bigger, but it felt so good. Like walking
Yeah.
out, I was like, that is such a satisfactory feeling. It's like so many like loose ends. I mean, not even things that
Yeah.
felt like loose ends, just like so many things like
Tony Stark and his dad,
That
like
he
loose
finally-
end
he fin-
tied.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah.
been a thing throughout everything.
and like Cap and
And Bucky and Sam, it's like, who's your better friend? It's like, dude, you're both my best friend. He hugged,
And-
and he like
and
hugged them
Piggy.
both, and he's like, I'm picky. Yeah, he got
and Peggy. All of the loose ties from like the original.
I feel so bad
Avengers
for Peggy. It's like,
feel tied now, and like Thor and his parents.
yeah,
It's like retied, and like I don't know, just all of the like loose ends and like all of the problems they needed fixed kind of are changed now.
with and like even like even like with with one of the lines with like Black Widow and Clint, they're like, it's like this guy he's pulling our leg, and it's like he's like I don't really think he's really gonna make us do it. And it's like he's like, come on, anybody can get my name and parents' name, and she's like, I didn't get my dad's name.
Yeah,
And it's like, dang, like that's a big thing to say right there.
yeah,
And I kind of felt like at that point, it's like, oh, she's gonna be the one to die because we feel pity for her. I was like, I really want to be Clint though. I mean, I feel like with Age of Ultron, they like pity made him the like a central character.
I wonder if he's gonna get his own movie at some point. I feel like he's
They need to make a Budapest movie.
yeah,
They need to just like start referencing it and like actually do it
yeah.
because that'd be so much fun.
I don't know. He's especially with this one. Like I feel like this was like his own like movie almost, and some aspects of it like
Yeah.
for his storyline. Like you see him in the beginning. You see
I think
him
he's
at
like the
end,
third main
and his
So, I
story
mean, I think you
resolves.
got Cap, Iron Man, and then him.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I think he finally. It feels like it's almost his movie in this way. At least like from the beginning, like this is the beginning scene. This is how his family leaves. With end of it, like this is how this resolves.
Like Infinity War
and
was
with his reactions, and like I don't know. I think Hawkeye's like finally a good character now.
Yeah.
Because like he was so small in some of the other ones, and like this was a good one with him in it. And I feel like he could be brought in further now.
I think like it's part of the way that they like introduced him like so like,
Before they just like kick him out and kill him off. Like I want to see him big in something again.
yeah, because like I think part of it is like just the way they just showed him like he's a really good character. They just don't show it because like for the first Avengers film you have
He was OP in the old Avengers.
Yeah,
film,
'cause, like, you have
and
this-
you just never saw it.
you have the 6 main Avengers and then 2 of them don't have powers and so that they don't get their own movies. So he gets a cameo in Thor, but you don't actually see his face. You hear him and you see his you see his face like once, but you see like his silhouette and he's there. You don't see any action. He's there literally aiming at Thor. He's like, just tell me when. And it's like, stand down, okay. And then that's it. Black Widow, she is a secondary character throughout the entirety of Iron Man 2. Of course you're gonna like her more. You see her. You see Clint, he pops up. Oh, he didn't do anything. Bye.
Yeah.
Here, Avengers. Brainwashed. Oh, bye. Half the movie. Comes back. Blows up helicarrier. Okay, bye. Comes back at the end of the film. Oh, good guy. Clench up Legolas, and he sits on the rooftop shooting arrows for the rest of the next 20 minutes.
Exactly.
Like, dude, you're such a great
You
character.
like finally see his family
You
and
finally-
his story arc
Well,
in this. Like,
so I feel like Avengers 1 is like, oh, we didn't do anything with him except made him, like we made him a bad guy, brainwashed, and then we just play him down. With it, Age of Ultron is like, oh, pity party. We didn't do anything with him. Give him a family. It's like, that's sappy.
and
But
I
I don't
feel
think they did it right this time.
it's gonna be interesting seeing how the people who like carry on the mantle.
Oh,
I don't know if I hope they're not huge in the movies. Like I would like to see what happens with them, but I don't know if like I feel like the whole saga is like going in a different angle now. Like we don't necessarily need to see like I don't want a movie with like new Captain America. just focusing like
Yeah.
on that story arc. Unless they do the compelling story arc, then I'm all for it. But I don't feel like we need like that.
So I wonder when the Falcon and Winter Soldier's series is going to take place.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah. So Sam and Bucky are going to be best friends now because their best friend is old
Yeah.
and he can't do anything.
What if we just saw old Steve Rogers for like that whole show just in the background, like not dying? He's just like eating sandwiches and he's like 80 and he's like, ugh.
He's like, I can still do this. Like, no, you can't. So I think that the series might be about them and from now on doing stuff. Dude, but when he said Hail Hydra, I was like, okay.
Great moment.
I was like, okay, that is that's a call to so many different things. One, Winter Soldier,
There
obviously.
were so many compelling moments like that,
Comic
that,
book.
like,
When he was the sleeper agent for Hydra, and then all the memes that came with that, I was like, so many things. Like at one point, I was like, oh, that was beautiful. There's so many of those like moments, especially like with Cap though. There's so many of those like moments with him. It's like don't do anything stupid. Like, how can I? You're taking all the stupid with you. I'm like, oh, I knew that was coming, but like, oh, that was amazing. And I also like I mentioned this before, but like when they paired everybody up, like at the end, like who they were talking to, like they had, I thought it was like first off scene, it was really weird at Tony's funeral having a Hawkeye with
what do you think
with
of the
Wanda.
characters that we didn't necessarily know who they were?
Who
There were like a few at the funeral
like
that we weren't sure
like standing
who
behind
they
the
were.
Guardians, like who was
Yeah.
that kid?
Was it like the kid from Iron Man 3? Who's in like that
The
hut
garage
thing?
kid, the
Do you think it
Ty
was that
Simpkins
dude?
character,
Do you think it was that dude?
the Tennessee kid.
Yeah. I have
It
no
might
idea.
have been,
It might have been, but
but
I
that
have
didn't
no
look
idea.
like him. That's wait 5 years.
I kind of want to know now. Like, I feel like
I was wondering who was.
that'll be in an IGN thing in like a month. I guarantee it. It'll be like, who's this person? Oh, this is from this film.
Because I was like
Either
watching
that or it's
everybody
like
else.
something totally random that we're gonna see in the future.
I'm like everyone else is like, even Ross is there. Like even okay, he was friends with him, like at the end, but like Ross was there. I'm like, he knew him professionally. He didn't know him personally.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, with the Guardians, 1, 2, 3, 4, Gamora, and then like it. And like they weren't all standing together. It was like each group was by themselves, and then Samuel L. Jackson's in the back, and Captain Marvel's by herself. I was just kind of like wondering, like they paired up people at the end who were talking to each other. Like I did not expect to see Clint and Wanda together at the end. I was like, oh, but then like, oh, they are the two people that lost people that you can't get back. Everyone else got people back. And then like when they teamed up with Nebula with War Machine, I'm like, why though? I'm like, they both have artificial body parts or need some kind of artificial aid. I was like, just things as like, we first see it, like, oh, I didn't think much of it. Like, why are they doing that? Oh, wait, they have more in common than thought. And I think they've been doing that well. I think like the first time I like noticed that was in Guardians 2 when they paired up Rocket with Quill's, what's his name? The Ravager guy. He's like, he may have been your father, but he wasn't your dad. You're like, what's his?
Yondu?
Yondu, yes, Yondu.
I was like really confused for a second.
I was like, I'm like the blue guy with the metal mohawk. I was like,
I was okay. No.
Because he
Okay,
says,
the
"You are me." I
the
was
one
like,
prediction
that line.
I had for this movie was that Rocket was gonna die, and I'm really glad that didn't happen because whenever you see like in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 where it ends with like Rocket crying and his like tear-filled eyes, that was so heart-wrenching. And like there's a moment in one of the trailers where you see him like emotionally looking like that,
In
and
Endgame?
I was like,
He's holding hands with Nebula.
yeah, and I was like, I think Rocket's gonna die in this one, and I was really afraid that he was because like especially with how the dynamic was, it was like the original Avengers were the ones that didn't get caught in the snap basically, and everyone else was sucked in except for Rocket, and I was like,
Yeah.
I feel like all of these originals are gonna be taken away, and then Rocket's gonna die, and
Yeah.
I was so glad when he didn't,
Yeah.
but I was
Especially when he was reunited with Groot, because like Groot said, "Bye, Dad." Basically, at the end of Infinity War, it's like, wait, you actually care about me that much? And he's like really coming to terms with things like,
he's always the stone cold guy. Like, oh, I'm just gonna be the big BA and just do whatever I want, and just like no feelings. It's like all fist, no feelings. And it's like, but it actually feels kind of good to have some of those. And it's like people actually do genuinely care about me as much as they talk crap about me. Like, I should probably actually like do it. So like when he first met up with Groot, like they hugged and everything. I was like, oh wait, your daddy's tinier than you. Oh.
I random side point again. I feel like they could almost like split the MCU into like 5 sections now and just do like the Guardians of the Galaxy side of the universe. So like do the normal Guardian series, do the like extra Guardian series, like the what is it like? Is it Robert De Niro?
For what?
The other Guardians. Like you know how in Guardians of the Galaxy 2 where you see like the other groups of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, the other
Robert
pirate.
De Niro in one of them? Who's the other dude?
The other.
Was it Sylvester Stallone? Sylvester Stallone.
So
I don't know why I was
You
saying
see
De
the
Niro.
other pirates.
Yeah, and you see them like they could possibly be like other Guardians of the Galaxy because like all of them are actually Guardians of the Galaxy in the comics in like different forms at different times. Because like all of these groups are like very transparent and open and like okay, this is our replacement for this person. This is our replacement for this person when they die. Which is why the movies are a little bit different because they don't have the characters dying off and being replaced.
Every movie, yeah.
Every movie, right. Which I mean, I guess you kind of do a little bit because like. Looking back at some of the trailers for some of the Avengers, like there were characters I forgot were even existent back then that died.
Like,
I don't remember who they were, but like I looked back in the thing and I was like, "Who's this person?" I do not remember them being in this movie.
like Cho from.
There was someone
Age of
in
Ultron?
like one of the Avengers movies, yeah, and I was just like, "Who's this person?" I do not remember them, and they died off. And I was like, "Oh, cool! I totally forgot they existed."
Selvig, Natalie Portman. I was surprised that they brought back Jane. Like they mentioned Jane. Like,
Yeah,
a big...
I was glad they did. I was like,
because
finally.
I was like, okay, what? Like at the end of Thor, Thor the Dark World, is like, oh, are we gonna work things out? Like, oh, we're together. Okay, let's do it. And it's like, then at the end, I'm like, oh, not really doing anything. It's like, okay, because that's like not realistic for that to happen. And like then post credit scene, kiss. I'm like, what? And then Ragnarok, nothing. And this one, he's like, yeah, we had a thing. That's over now. It's like, thank you, some closure. That ended a long time ago.
Yeah.
That photo of her was from the 2012 Avengers.
Yeah.
So like they were done with that a long time ago. It's like
Yeah.
I think like they definitely like wrapped up. That was one of the things that they like, wrapped up very well. With that.
I don't know. Like I was saying though, I feel like they could have like 6 different like franchises now.
Yeah.
Just do like the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, the Spider-Man franchise, and do it like all the multiverses there, and then
Oh, that'd be so much fun.
just all these other things. And I really hope that Disney Plus somehow like pans out into that. So like even if we don't get movies with them, we could get series with them.
Because they get the What If series, the animated series. That's what if Peggy was it What If Peggy's Captain America?
There was something like
Something
that.
like that.
I really want to see these things because there's so many. Like I said, there's so many stories from this. There's like Spider-Man. There's all of his villains and like each character has their own like villains and they have like hundreds of them and they have hundreds of alternate suits, hundreds of alternate powers, hundreds of alternate realities. Like there's so much content they can take from, and they're going through like some of the main stuff, which is nice for people who are fans of it, I'm sure.
Yeah, and we've
But,
seen
like,
yeah.
I really hope like this Disney Plus thing pans out and just does a huge array of them. And just does everything possible.
Yeah, because
it'd
like,
be great.
It's like we said, like the different like suits and stuff. Like we've only mainly seen that from Iron Man and Spider-Man because I mean he's close to Iron Man. So like we see his normal suit, we see his Iron Spider suit, we see his new black suit. But then like Iron Man,
His Ant-Man suit,
well, it's
which he doesn't have technically. Everyone else does.
yeah. But like
Why didn't they use their Ant-Man time travel suits in Endgame, shrink down, and go into people and explode?
I think they used the nanotechnology that would go over their normal suits, which is why they would have normal clothes when they went back to their alternate times. I like those little details that were like really cool. About it, and I was like wondering like why was Cap wearing his Winter Soldier outfit for the beginning? Like, is he still like disowning America? Because he's like the man without the country.
Right.
Is he still doing that?
Nomad?
Yeah. Is he still doing that, or is it just because stealth ops?
I'm kind of upset we didn't have like a real Nomad moment.
Yeah. I mean, I think that his big moment was in Infinity War when he went at the train station. But it was just a fight and he left.
Yeah.
But that was the closest we're gonna get.
Nomad would be really cool to have like a story arc on, or like
Well, I think
the
like
secret soldiers and like all that kind of stuff.
a lot of things like that, like they hint at, but they don't actually like do full on.
Yeah.
Because like we had Ronin, they did not mention him by name. They did.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
always Hawkeye. He's like, you're
Yeah.
Hawkeye, you're Clint. It's like they never mentioned Ronin by name. And I think like in Infinity War, you had the Black Order, but I don't think they actually said the Black Order. If they did, they said it once, and
Yeah.
it was in passing. And
I think they did
They didn't say like this is the Black Order. It's like we're doing this thing. We have the Black Order with us. We're
Yeah.
gonna do this is our plan. It's like
And it's like I don't know. I feel like we've done so much so far, but they've only like barely scraped the surface at all.
we just now getting the scrolls this year.
Yeah.
That's been around a long time.
Yeah.
Kree scrolls. He had Kree subtly introducing Agents of Shield, but like now we're actually getting them in there. It's like, wow, like they're just now getting some of like the bigger stuff, like some of the things that like hardcore, like I mean, like casual fans don't really know about, but it's like
Yeah. And
finally seeing it.
that's like the
implemented.
hard line too, because it's like they could do like 8 films a year and just like go
Yeah.
all out and do all of these different things, but then like you can't do that for casual fans. They won't.
Don't know what the heck's going on.
They'll be asleep for a few months and be like, okay, I missed 8 films.
That's why no one
What do
like
I need
Rise
to
of the
catch up
Silver
on?
Surfer, because like oh we have Fantastic Four, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, let's just throw everything cosmic into the next film. It's like
Yeah.
that's why it took so long to get.
It's been 23
Strange.
films just to get in like the scrolls.
That's why, yeah, that's why it took so long. Because I mean, Thor introduced space, but we didn't actually really get into space until Thor 2. And and they mentioned magic.
They have to
but
go like
Doctor Strange
all
actually
out
made magic.
in one movie, just explain one simple concept so they can use it in the future.
Yeah, and but they have to like subtly hint it before it
Yeah.
too. So like they introduced magic with Thor. Like your people call it science. Well, my place, and we call it magic. And it's like, well, I come from a place that everyone the same thing.
Overall, I think we can just like look forward to the rest of the MCU, hoping that they do a lot of stuff like that and just go all out with everything they can, and cover as many bases as possible without it like breaking everyone else.
I think so far they're doing a really good job because like yeah like for like fans like us, I mean like yeah we could probably go a little bit faster, you know, but like for like casual moviegoers, like
I would be up to watching another movie like right now. Like
Yeah.
if Spider-Man Far From Home was over now, I'd watch it.
yeah
And I saw Adventures Endgame last night.
yeah got out like
Slightly more
one-
than 24 hours ago.
yeah we got out like 1:15 and it's like you can go again. But yeah it's,
You know what I feel like I don't need right now? Captain Marvel 2.
yeah
Even though it was good, I feel like I don't need more Captain Marvel content for a good like 2 years.
yeah because it's like the her movie was all flashback stuff. It's like
You know what I wish they would do? After this one, not do any of the main superhero franchises for like 3 years. If they just introduce more people for the rest of them, and like maybe if they had the characters like in the background or whatever, like being involved somewhat, but like if they talked about other ones for like the next few years.
well, they need to start killing people off.
That too, but also like you can't. I don't know. I hope with Disney Plus they at least like add in more stuff like that, so you can like have more time with that character at least. So it's not like, oh, this person's been in 2 films. It's time for them to be dead now. It's like, wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
They've had like 88 minutes of screen time total. We haven't seen their full arc yet. I don't know. And that's the one thing with this too is like we can never see Iron Man in this way again. We can never see Cap in this way again. And that's good, but also that gets rid of like a ton of storylines too.
Yeah, because they're like the two
That they're
founding.
prominent
They're the biggest Avengers, really.
And like I'm fine with that because you know years from now they'll probably reboot it unless they're still doing this MCU then.
So far, like they thought about rebooting it because of some of the mistakes that they made, but like we're this far.
But not like a reboot like that. I'm saying like years from now if they aren't still doing like the MCU. They can reboot everything again. And like even with Disney Plus they can do alternate realities and stuff and
Yeah.
just say this
I
is
feel like
our,
they want,
this
like-
is our Iron Man actor.
I feel like it's already gone so long and so big and like so successful. Like they don't have a rotten film on Rotten Tomatoes. Even like the Incredible Hulk, that's still technically fresh, but that like they're so successful. I think if they were to do something like that, they wouldn't reboot the MCU. They would probably do like an alternate universe or kill everyone off and do something with new characters and make it feel like it's a new MCU, but it's still in continuation with what they already have right now. because there's already so much stuff they have right now. It's like if
Yeah.
if you undo that at all, it's like I don't know, because it's like they made way less mistakes than the X-Men franchise, and that's already lasted longer than it should have. But like with this one, they're building it really well, and like yeah, it's a rocky. Every couple movies like it's kind of rocky, but it's like films like this really tied together the loose ends. And I mean, I don't know. You're always gonna have people coming in and out. You know, like oh yeah, we're gonna get new stuff, and it's like not really gonna work. It's like well, keep on making new stuff, get rid of the old stuff, make new stuff, and I think that's passing the mantle. Will work.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like we're getting off on more tangents and stuff, obviously, but I don't know.
Yeah, we should probably wrap it up.
We should really
Before
soon. I feel like I could honestly talk for another like 10 hours about this because we haven't even like barely scraped what happened in Endgame.
Yeah,
with what we've been talking.
Yeah,
about.
we sat in the car for like 30 minutes and talked.
And all the stuff that happened with Thor and all the stuff that happened with... Actually, one thing I'm really, really happy about is like that they subtly hinted that Hulk is still smart.
Yeah.
And showing that side of him still like, oh yeah, hey, remember who's a scientist? This guy.
Yeah.
I feel like we missed out on a ton of like Bruce Banner's character throughout all of this. Like, we see him when he's like other stuff, but like
it showed him more doing.
He was
things
kind of a
actually, like,
jerk earlier on in the series, and we didn't really see that side of him. And he was like one of the smaller Avengers because he was always like the Hulk when we saw him.
It's like, oh, he had a bad movie. It's like it's just gonna. He's still here. He's still here.
Whenever I just remember watching the old like Hulk animated series,
Yeah.
and like he was a scientist for all of that, and he was always talking about like landmines and stopping a lot of like army stuff, and then like he would only like drink the serum or whatever behind the thing and turn into the Hulk and go crazy and like stop everything.
It's Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, but this one actually combines the two personalities so that
Yeah.
they work.
Which is good, and I really hope. Like I said before, I hope Hulk is in a few more before he goes.
Yeah.
Like obviously they can kill him off pretty soon, and then like I think
Oh, dude, his arm was not healing very quickly at all at the end of the movie.
honestly I feel like at this point instead of like just killing off characters, they can just soft exit.
Can they retire? Hulk retires.
I feel like Hulk could come back and like.
Well, because
5 years and
and
literally be in the background again, like how the whole Planet Hulk thing was. Like I feel in Thor Ragnarok, I feel like they could do something like that again, where it's like, oh, you're on this planet now. What are you doing here?
Well,
and there's like 5-minute scene.
well, technically, like in the comics, like all the Avengers marry. Like
Did
each
we
other.
ever get an explanation on how he ended up on the other planet? I can't remember. Oh yeah, he crashed the ship and then
the Quinjet?
Yeah. Never mind. Sorry, people.
Because he couldn't know how to steer it, which is still like, wait, the Quinjet can go in space, okay, but like because like in the comics, like all the Avengers, like they're like when they like finally get done with everything, like they made sure they have kids, and then they eventually die, and then the kids, the secret, and the next Avengers, the only two to survive are Tony and Bruce. And Bruce goes into hiding, and he goes to the desert because he always loves it. Tony is the one who's raising the next Avengers. Well, I mean, he's obviously dead, so they're not going to do something. So I feel like Hulk, like, it worked that he retired. So maybe people like that can retire. They don't have to kill them off.
Okay. Speaking of people having kids, Iron Man.
Oh!
So my
Morgan.
two biggest hopes for this, one, that they start bringing in some of the more recent and progressive series. So like Ironheart. I really hope Morgan somehow ends up being Ironheart, and that they can have that series come through. Secondly, one of the biggest series I really hope they bring to the screen at some point in the near future is Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, which would be totally insane. I don't know how they would do it. Basically, it's like a brainiac girl and her like T-Rex or whatever. And I don't. It's a really crazy series. It's really interesting. I don't think it's very involved in any like actual plot lines or anything right now, but that would be a really fun one to see in the future.
They could definitely do it. We're still supposed to be getting Squirrel Girl sometime.
Yes.
They
that'd
keep
be
on
really
saying, like, oh, we're going to get her,
We'll probably get like a series or something.
Yeah.
I
mean,
want Anna Kendrick to be Squirrel Girl. That's all I want. Kevin Feige, hear me roar. And then, yeah, other than that, I think it would be interesting just to see some of the characters from this. And I want to look back in like 10 years and be like, look, you know how this one, it's like looking back and seeing how for the past 23 or 24 films, how everything weaved together to be this story.
Yeah.
I'm interested in seeing what they weaved into this one that we don't even know now. And like 5 years from now, that could be like something totally different. Like if that person wasn't the boy from Iron Man 3 and he's somewhat related in the future and we don't even know that yet. Or if there's like other plot lines in this that we don't even know yet and we like barely even saw like the subtle hintings of like this being Secret War or another huge plot line. Like I feel like we barely even like touch on like this, what is it? Like, is it the Kree invasion or the Skrull invasion? Invasion of the Skrulls? Like we barely touched on that in Captain Marvel, and like that's something that happened before all of this started because it was like in the past, and I don't know. There are so many different plot lines, so many different
underlying
things.
stuff that's already in motion.
Yeah, and I want to know if what they've like suddenly been working on for the past like 6 that we haven't even caught yet.
Because they're working on stuff big, and like Feige, like they say it's like, oh, he's focusing on the Disney Plus series, and he doesn't want to do any movie stuff right now. It's like, no, they're planning something big though. Like, I mean, he's not going to focus on the TV levels. I mean, he's going to work on it because he's a producer on literally everything Marvel Studios does. But like, he's going to focus primarily on the films.
Yeah.
He's going to make sure he's going to have enough carry the TV, but he's still like number one priority films. Yes. Wait, what? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so I think we're gonna kind of like wrap it up. Feel closing thoughts. So,
Opinion overall of the movie?
I need to see it again. I love it. Main thing, I just want like to process it all again. Everything that happened is like two. I really want to get the time travel thing down.
Yeah, definitely. Like, watch it again if you've already seen it. People listening, if you're listening, if you're there, see it again. Formulate what you think about time travel. Formulate what you think about all of that. Watch it 7 billion more times before it releases on disc, and then buy the whole phase. Overall opinion, I really liked it. I feel still like there should have been a few more like deaths and emotional parts because like
Same.
obviously like this being like the 24th or 25th film, everything leading up to it, it's crazy, all the intricacies. Obviously there should be emotion with that, and if you obviously weren't invested in that, it's obviously not going to be crazy, heartbreaking for you and stuff. But I still wish there had been a few more kind of things that were like big and crazy and leading on to something else. And I'm sure, obviously, we'll see this in the future. Like, oh, this is a huge plot we didn't see. But, yeah. Overall, I really, really enjoyed it. I think the whole Thanos arc that we've been experiencing for the past 15 years.
Since the first Avengers.
Yeah. All of this huge story arc that they've been working towards.
Just 12, 7 years.
Amazing job on their part. Don't sue us.
Don't sue us, I
Don't
guess.
sue us.
For your compliment.
For that compliment. But amazing job. Amazing series. Crazy movie. We've been talking about it for over an hour now, I'm sure.
And there's things that we talked about in
we
the
could
car.
talk about it for like 4 more hours, and that's longer than the movie itself was.
Yeah.
And I think like as that fan base obviously can tell, like it's huge dedication, and I don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think like when we sat in the car and we talked for a while, it's like one of the was like trying to like process everything that happened. Like we like mapped out where did they get every Infinity Stone and
What happened with it. This
Yeah.
one was really cool. The one quote I really liked from it was like before the call to action, it was like the 6 stones, 3 places, 1 chance, or whatever they said. I don't know if that's the exact quote.
it was
like,
it's like along that
before
line.
they started like the whole time travel thing. Like that was a really great call to action.
'Cause they're like-
before
yeah.
instead of like Avengers, a symbol. It's like this is what we need to do. We only have 1 chance, guys. We need to do this.
Yeah,
And that was really awesome to see. And just seeing how everyone worked together and did all of the fighting and craziness in this one. It was really well done.
Yes. It's just a masterpiece of like so many things going on at one time, but in the end, you still like. I think I got that because we're like each Infinity Stone. Like, I remember
like where they got each one. It didn't seem like oh, we only got 4 of them. We gotta get 2 more. It's like, wait.
Yeah.
It's just like,
It
no,
was
next one,
really-
next one.
The pacing on this one was really good.
Because I think it's because they did it simultaneously. Like, you had people like working on them all at the same time. Otherwise, instead of just going 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like, no, it's like
It was bouncing back and forth.
The
between
bouncing back and
scenes,
forth.
they got like all of them at the same.
it's
time.
like as soon as I
basically.
was thinking, I'm like, wait, when are we gonna hear back from this character? That scene ended, and then we see that character again. I'm like, wow, like you knew what I was thinking. Like, when am I going back to see Thor when he's going to go talk to his mom? Like, oh, there's Thor's mom. There's Thor hiding behind the pillar. I was like, yeah, she obviously knows he's there. You idiot. You can't.
I'm surprised the scene with Rocket and that wasn't a little bit longer.
when
When he
he's
like
slapping
snuck up
Thor.
on the people. No, before that, when he like, or after that, I guess, when he like went to grab the stone. Like you don't see him. You see him like going for it, and then after that, you see him being chased.
Yeah.
See,
I got the stone!
I feel like should have been something in between that we saw.
Like his interaction with Jane.
Yeah.
That would have been funny.
Yeah. I really wish that there.
Why
had
did
been
he
that
wait till she
interaction.
woke up?
Yeah.
It's like he's there and she just like sits up, he slowly goes and walks away, and he's just like, he gets it out. It's like,
No, there was the one moment I really wish we had seen was when the Infinity Gauntlet was underneath everything after like
Yeah.
Thanos had attacked, and it was there, and there were the 3 characters there, and it was like Hawkeye and Rocket and Hulk. I really wanted to see Rocket
And-
wear
oh.
the gauntlet and just like, can you imagine someone with like the thieving mindset with all of that power and like, oh my gosh, because he's had like 3 encounters with the stones in general in the past, and like
single stones.
with them in general, like
Yeah.
with the collector and all that stuff. Like, he knows the value of that, and I think like seeing him have that temptation in front of him and like put it on, like that would have been a scene I would have loved to see. Just like even if it resulted in his death from that, like him being so
Him
stupid.
laugh. Just like imagine his laugh.
Could you imagine Rocket putting on the gauntlet?
It's shrinking
And
to
just,
his
like,
hand.
Yes. All the other ones that like grows onto their arm for him, it like shrinks onto his hand. That would be so.
The stones are
beautiful.
bigger than his arm.
Yeah, that was one I really thought about when they were doing that. I was like, if this happens, everything will be fulfilled in me right now. But no,
Yeah, so it's like
something
so
I can talk about
satisfactory.
for a long time again. It was very satisfying. To
Everything
see.
was.
Like for everything that was propped up in Infinity War. Like I just remember when we were in the theater for Infinity War. It's like. I remember Robert Downey Jr. was the person who like tweeted about it, like, "Oh, this seems weird. Why don't we move it back like 2 weeks or whatever?" And then they moved it back, and obviously that was happening before, and they just like asked him to tweet that. But so like basically the movie was released before it happened, and I was like, "What if we after we finish Infinity War?" I just remember saying to you like, "What if Robert Downey Jr. like tweets tonight, and we get the second one like a week from now?" And like honestly, like the last year's been super long for me, but like. It feels like it hasn't been that long since we saw Infinity War.
I still remember us going to the movie
Yeah.
and everything like that, and like
Our popcorn buckets look exactly the same.
yeah, I was like, wait, is that the same one? Like, no, it's
It
slightly
looks the
different.
same. The other one said Infinity, actually. It didn't say Infinity War. It just said Infinity on it. And I saw that and I was like, whoa.
I remember, yeah, I remember
I-
going sitting, and I remember just like sitting there, like processing, like
Yeah. I don't know.
this
Obviously,
one. This one, I'm like, wait. I just thought that's just a big mouthful. I'm like, but that's satisfying. Like, I wasn't like leaning forward or anything. It's like I did when Infinity War. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like,
I think even for this, it feels like, honestly, if they didn't have any other plans for the MCU, they could have like wrapped it with this one almost.
pretty much.
Like it was so satisfying in that it's like that's why I feel like we spent most of the time of this one talking about what could possibly be next, because it's like it felt
ended.
so satisfying, and like all these loose ends are finally tied. It's like what could possibly
I'm like,
be
Captain America's
next?
still alive. I'm fine not seeing
What
anything
could they
from him
possibly
again.
have next?
He lived his life. He did his work, and Tony died. I'm like, yeah, it's about time.
Yeah.
Not like dude, jerk it out here, but like,
Yeah.
dude, like, you know, you did your work and you wrapped up your loose ends with your wife and you know your daughter, and then your dad is the biggest one.
Yeah.
And like that, I was like, as soon as like they had that heartfelt moment, I'm like, he's gonna complete it.
Yeah. I'm interested to see if this ends up being like a soft reboot kind of for it.
But they want it to be that way.
Yeah.
Because like Captain America founded the Avengers, and then Tony Stark financed it. So then like something's gonna happen. So
Yeah. Obviously, there's so much
we could talk about this forever.
commitment on this. There's a huge fan base. All of us are going crazy for this. Nobody wants it spoiled for them. We like got tickets for like one of the first showings of the first night just so we could like
Yeah, we went.
not have it spoiled. I listened
Preview
to
night.
I and a few other people in the lobby had like headphones in so we couldn't hear people in the lobby who just got out of it talking about it. Obviously, with all of the commitment of this, it's a huge fan base. It's crazy and amazing, and we can't wait to see what happens next. So, kudos to you, Marvel, for making something that everyone is so dedicated and amazed by.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool to see that happen and storytelling happen like that.
Yes, it's I love it. Like you said, it's like so satisfying to feel like wrapped up, but it's like still it's love to see like where it's gonna go from here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, like before, I thought like Marvel was just like, oh, DC's the serious stuff, and then they're the ones that are just kind of like playful and just kind of like they just do their own thing. And like now, it's just like, no, they're the OG. They're the one that's got this down. They know what they're doing, and I really like. I didn't really get into much theorizing. I'm like, I'm just trusting them.
Yeah. And like you look at DC and you don't see like any of this like obviously with this they spent all of this time like making sure everything was so cohesive and led up to this point. Like DC, they're just like struggling.
Shell's the next one.
They're struggling to like get grounds on any of their stories.
They're like this
let's
movie,
make Justice League out of these three that we've already had, kind of.
two, or three.
Well,
It's Suicide Squad counts. But they're like, oh, this movie sucked. It did bad. Oh, let's do the next one. Make it successful, so it erases their memory. And like,
Yeah.
and 'cause it's Warner Brothers. It's their creative team and their writing. Marvel looks at the story. Warner Brothers looks at the money, and so they look at the next film. They don't look at anything else beyond that, really, for the most part. And
But hey, maybe Joker will be a good movie. Who knows?
I with every DC movie, I'm thinking like I'll give it a chance.
Yeah.
I probably won't. I don't plan on seeing it in the theater. If I get a chance, if I get the opportunity, probably I'll take it. I'm not gonna make plans to see it unless someone else asks me to. That's how I saw Aquaman, and
Man, I'll tell you, if I snapped right now, I hope DC's the 50% that goes away and never comes.
except for Batman. Batman is resistant against the snap. You cannot erase that. Have you seen that meme with Wolverine? Like Thanos snaps, and like from like one of the X-Men films, he starts like drifting. I think it's from Last Stand. You know when they're going against Phoenix, and it's just radiating everything. It's like he's going away, and then Thanos snaps a couple more times, and you see like you see his skeleton, and he snaps like a bunch of times, and you just see like everything coming off of him. He's just coming closer and closer to him. I'm like, I feel like Batman could just be like,
You know what I'm sad about? That we never saw Wolverine regenerate from a drop of blood. That happens in the comics. He literally...
I thought it was Deadpool.
He,
Was that Deadpool or was that Wolverine?
I think it could be both, honestly. Both of them have like crazy regenerative kind of stuff. I think it's Wolverine.
I think Deadpool's is faster.
It's probably faster for Deadpool, but I think Wolverine was what it was in the comics. Either way, I'm upset that we never saw
It took
someone...
a while though, but like
Because like we see Groot like come back from like a twig.
yeah,
I feel like
a random twig.
I really wish
a random twig.
I really wish we had seen. Also, what if there are more Groots out there that grew back from other?
That's what I was
times?
wondering.
Anyway, yeah, I really wish we had seen someone come back from blood. That'd be awesome.
Oh, that'd be so cool. Hey, Hugh Jackman.
From the ashes of resistance, a true hero shall rise.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Get the other dude from The Prestige. Get a second Hugh Jackman. Yes.
I was talking about that film later today.
The multiverse.
We
We were talking about the Chris Pratt multiverse, and we didn't even know what we really needed was the Hugh Jackman multiverse.
Yes. In all honesty, though, we should honestly end this
Yeah.
up. It's almost 3:00, and surprised we haven't been kicked out by now because he's supposed to come between 1 and 2. But yeah, we could talk about this forever because we didn't really talk about too much about the exact movie.
the end game.
Yes. Yes. So thank you all for joining us today, and Yeah, we'll see. See what happens next year. With, you'll be taking this lab. Maybe we
Yeah,
talk again
I'll be
later.
taking the audio.
Do you know what you'll be doing?
I have no idea.
If we do something like this, we get to talk again and be
Possibly.
your
You know how
switch
bad
seats.
fall films are.
Ragnarok was not bad. Doctor Strange was not bad. Everything else was Guardians of the Galaxy was not bad.
Ragnarok. Okay, never mind.
Ragnarok was a bad Thor movie, but a really good movie overall.
But
I mean,
Ragnarok.
Thor hasn't had a really good movie, to be honest. Because it seems like he's just a like expositional character. Thor introduced him. Thor 2 was boring, and then Thor 3 is like, okay, this is awesome. This is
For
not
some
Thor
reason,
3.
I associated Thor Ragnarok with February because that's when I actually saw it for the first time.
Oh,
So I was like, Ragnarok came out in spring. How dare you say that? And I was like, nope.
it's like I remember going to go see it with some friends. Like that was the first movie I saw here in Hutch when I came here.
Either way, but that was like November 3rd, 2017. So like, even if I did that, it would be like towards the end of the series.
Yeah.
And the first one I would do would obviously be the, what is it? The Playmobil.
Oh,
That'll be my first review.
can we just like forget about that?
Hey, it's just Jesse here.
It's
with
just
real to real.
with like
Actually,
rod to rod.
The one. No, actually, I had an idea for one that was like this, but we like. Oh, I can't remember what it was, but it was similar to this, but like bringing in another element from it, and I thought it was an actually really cool idea if we were doing something else.
Oh, let's see
Can't
what
fully
let's see what
remember.
you muster up.
Yep, check it out in fall and see what happens.
Yeah.
Did it did do did it did do did it did did do. We're in the end game, and it's the end now. Yay! Wanna be your end game. End game. Boom.
Okay, I'm clicking like
Yep.
record like
See you guys.
Taylor Swift. Yeah, that's it for me.
Where is he? Where is Tony Stark? Oh, he was in space with Captain Marvel. Problem solved. Thanks, Past Jesse.
Bye.
Bye. Ba-da-dum, ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. Real to real.